Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Friday. Finally, Friday, July 11th, as we exit Big 12 Media Days, and we are now 3 days away from SEC Media Days, and we will look through the participants today, go through some of the teams today, things that we expect, things we want to try to learn, maybe some reading between the lines of why certain people are going to be there, not going to be there, and let's just start with Monday, what we're going to get on Monday, who we're going to get on Monday. I think that one of the teams going to be there Monday, Greg, that has a lot of questions is LSU. A lot of positives with LSU. Some people have a lot of concerns with LSU. Is there something that with either of the three participants or with Brian Kelly that you think you can learn, want to try to learn next week in Atlanta about this football team that you think could change your opinion?
What is the biggest concern you think with LSU?
I don't know if it's the biggest. It's offensive line is a concern. The inability to hand the football off is a concern.
Inability or unwillingness?
Unwillingness, yeah. Inability to call. I don't really think I know what their secondary is.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because for so long it was just a given that it was going to be incredible. And that corners were going to be fine and safeties were going to be great. And it was just going to be, you just checked that box and moved on.
Right.
And I'm not saying I think it's bad. I'm not saying I think it's great. I felt a little bit of the same way last year about it going in, although I feel like they had a little bit more experience. I don't really know what I think of it because I know it's usually a strength and I don't feel like it is this year. So offensive line, secondary, maybe depth, just in general across the board, which that's going to be something we mentioned for almost every team.
Yeah.
And then just offensive philosophy. And can it change? Will it change?
I think they'll be fine when it comes to the offensive line. I'm just not that worried about it. Will it be as good as last year? I don't know. I thought the right side at times last year was pretty inconsistent. I thought Dellinger was a little inconsistent. Will Campbell was amazing, so it was great to have a great left tackle. But other than that, it's not like the other four guys were like outrageously good. I mean, I know everybody talked about Emory Jones like he was a first-round pick, but when did he end up getting drafted?
It was later. He played great late, I thought. The last couple games of last season, I thought he played really well. But that you're right. For the entire season, it was not consistently good.
Yeah, so he was a third rounder, 91st pick. So like a good player for sure. But not a guy that is impossible to replace. Will Campbell, on the other hand, yeah, definitely impossible to replace. But one would hope they'd be able to have enough there. I mean, Will Campbell starts as a true freshman. Maybe they go that route, go young again. But I don't know, man. I think LSU is going to be really good. I think they almost have to be. And I would be surprised if they're not. I just kind of knowing Brian Kelly, knowing BK, knowing how much he's succeeded in the past. I just can't imagine a scenario where he isn't playing high-level football with this team this year. I just don't see it.
And I've seen a lot of discussion on social media. I've seen some articles, people writing about it, how Brian Kelly is in a lot of pressure this year. He could be in trouble this year if he doesn't have a big season, needs to have a big season. And I just kind of sit back and think to myself, that doesn't feel real. I don't look at his situation as tumultuous, on the hot seat, anything of that nature. Now we know, listen, it's LSU football. You have a bad year, that could be it. They could decide to move on. But do you look at it going in saying, prove yourself or else, Brian Kelly?
I don't. I mean, but then again, I'm not an LSU fan. I'm not frustrated with what's transpired. I mean, yeah, okay, I'd probably be a little mad that they've started the season 0-4 every year. I'd probably be a little mad that they haven't made the playoff. But I also would kind of understand the circumstances with which Brian Kelly took the job in. I mean, Ed Ogeron was a disaster. I mean, I love the man. Will always love the man and appreciate the man, but he was a disaster. So I don't really know what that program became was disastrous. So I don't know. I mean, is he in trouble? Probably, but it doesn't mean he should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that that's a real thing for Brian Kelly. And if it's a completely miserable season, which they're too talented at quarterback and at the skill positions for that to actually happen. But nonetheless, I think that when you look at it's just LSU football, fine, great. You know, that's a part of it. And if it's a really bad year, then people are going to have that discussion. I'm not going to look at it from the standpoint of he has to go in 9 or 10 games or else he's going to be out. That's just not something that I think is a real thing. So when you look at LSU, you look at who's going to be there. Of course, Garrett Nussmeier, we want to talk to him. I mean, can he give you any indications to potentially the offense changing, morphing that could be real?
Yeah, I think he could. But with Nussmeier, there's got to be a willingness with his own legs. He's got to continue to make good decisions, which is not always a guarantee. He has to do a great job of making sure that he's not trying to do too much. Last year, the defense was suboptimal. The year before that, they were suboptimal as well. So oftentimes, I think the offense kind of felt like they had to go the distance. Like, man, we're kind of twisting out here in the wind on our own here. We got to go get it. And that, I think, became really, really challenging. But now the defense should be better. I mean, I'd be surprised if they're not. Like, I mean, Blake Baker, like, surely the defense is going to be better this year, right? I mean, surely.
I like what the defense has the capability to be, but we have to view this as an if right now because Weeks is going to be there. We want to talk to him. We want to just have him give us some indication to his health, where he is from a recovery standpoint, and how will Harold Perkins be utilized? Can he be utilized to an extent that gives him a chance to wreck games? I mean, you were on the call for the first time that it happened, and he completely took over that Arkansas game. And we all came away from that thinking this guy's going to be an unstoppable force for the next few years in the SEC. It hasn't really turned out that way. Matter of fact, I don't think we've seen anything close to that game since then.
Nothing close. I mean, absolutely nothing close.
However, you go land Jack Pyburn from Florida. And I'm not going to say that he's the most polished football player, that he is the best technically.
But he's pretty violent.
Playing the edge. But he is a kamikaze pilot.
Yeah.
And then you get Patrick Payton, who just physically is a very different figure off the edge, and we've seen him play good football. He's had some really good reps inside of him. Hasn't all been consistently late, the most recent reps. But you go get some guys that with how you're designed, if Harold Perkins has maybe improved his skill set in certain areas to be on the field more often, if Whit Weeks is healthy, by the way, if Perkins is healthy too now, I mean, those are two big ifs. They now have a group of guys, Greg, that you can just cut them loose and they can be a problem. And they know how to see ball, get ball. They know how to circumvent blocks. They know how to get to the backfield and be disruptive. And that's what Blake Baker does. He's disruptive. He's problematic. Yeah. And they have guys who can do that. So if they're healthy and if they're a little bit more capable in certain areas, and let's just be honest, like a guy like Patrick Payton, if the want to is there, which I'll steal this from you, contract year. So probably will be. Probably not going to be very lazy. And if those things happens, this defense could be good. I mean, I
could be.
I think it has a chance to be pretty salty.
I think it could be pretty good. I think they have good talent. I don't think they're very deep. And for whatever reason, strangest thing ever, I don't know why they haven't been good in the secondary in a while. Now, I think pass rush has a little to do with that. I don't think they've had like super dynamic pass rushers before last year. And last year's pass rushers were good, just not great. You know, I don't know how you feel about them, but those guys were good. But when we're talking about like take over the game, these two guys on the end line of scrimmage will kill you. They were good, but did they ever like scare you to death?
I'm trying to think of the last LSU pass rusher that just struck fear into my eyes. I don't have a guy off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, like you and I talked about 35 last year, but he was just kind of a try-hard guy.
35 and 18 were good players last year.
Solid players, but just not Barkevius Mingo and Sam Montgomery, you know?
Yeah.
Not Tyson Jackson, like not those kind of guys.
No.
So maybe that, and Mason Smith was kind of inside, outside. They moved him around a little bit dinged up. Like he never really became the scary force. I mean, even a Glenn Dorsey, I know he wasn't a pass rusher per se, but he was a guy that was pretty scary in passing situations because he could dent the pocket and there wasn't a lot you could do about what he was going to be able to bring. So, yeah, I'm with you that maybe that is a bigger problem than we're giving it credit for.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility that the pass rush is not a problem. The secondary is still a problem. Like, I mean, they've made strides last year. They had a couple moments, but they've been banged up in the secondary, I feel like, for several years now. When was the last time they had a game-changing safety? Like, when was the last time they had a game-changing lockdown corner? Like, you're not throwing it to this side. Like, that's been what's different. I mean, they've been good on offense. I mean, the lead on offense really dating back to 2019.
Stingley might be the guy at corner, the last one that was just a playmaker.
That was in 19 was the last year he, like, really played.
And I know the last guy that people tried to tell us was a game-changing safety, but Grant Delpit, I don't believe, was really that.
Also in 19.
And your pass rushers, it's interesting. It's been really spotty. So, like, I can remember Arden Key being really good at times, but there were giant gaps in between that.
Yeah, but also at great length, you know?
Yep. Caleb Von Chason gave you some very good pass rush reps, but he wasn't really built to be at every down. Like, he wasn't really that guy off the edge. BJ Ojari wasn't, like, super tweaked up. Like, he was almost
good player.
Yeah, he was almost like a Savion Jones last year.
These are all good players, by the way.
Just not the, what are we going to do about this guy?
Players. This guy's might go first overall. Like, they had a million of those guys for a long time.
It's almost like the Alabama conversation that we have. It's just you're comparing it to maybe such greatness that it's almost going to be impossible to be that. But at the same time, it's also what made other parts of it really good, and that might not be that. South Carolina is also going to be in the house on Monday. A
Fascinating.
very, very intriguing team for a lot of reasons. You have a potential takeover player on defense, could be a top 10 player nationally on the defensive side of the football. We've seen their quarterback take over games. The consistency can still grow. You can question some of the weapons around him. There's a lot of different things that you can look at and say, will that be what it needs to be? The protection in front of him. They were young on the offensive line, and then those guys weren't getting it done, and then other guys had to come in. So there's a lot. We've talked about the tight end position and Joshua Simon, what he meant. He's gone. So, but there are some things to really, really, really like. And I'll give Shane credit. He's done more with less out of the portal than maybe anybody else in the league.
Yeah.
More guys that nobody knew who Gargiulo was coming out of the Ivy League, and he ends up starting at center all year. He's a pretty good player. So
solid.
Nope. You and I weren't even talking about Joshua Simon from Western Kentucky. It's a really good football player for them for a while. Kennard last year. He's just Mario Anderson, who almost runs for 1,000 yards and goes to Memphis the
Rocket
next year.
Sanders, who was a big name but hadn't done anything in 2 years.
Yeah, we were like, well, he can't stay on the field. Well, then he actually does go and get the job done. Spencer Rattler, head case, he's not going to be your guy. He turns into a super dude. So, I mean, he's had those guys every year. So I almost give him a little benefit of the doubt that there's going to be a guy or two out of the portal that we're not talking about that's going to help that football team a lot.
Yeah, and they also have had a couple misses at receiver. Like last year, a couple of their guys that they had brought in at the transfer portal, you'd hope that they were going to be dudes at receiver. It didn't really materialize, but it was partly because of injury. So I'm hoping that I think the offense for South Carolina is going to be very good. I do. I think they're going to score. I think they're going to be just fine along at wide receiver this year. I don't think they're going to be top of the league, but I think they're going to be just fine at wide receiver. I am concerned about tight end. I'm a little concerned about offensive line being really good. I think they got a chance to be solid. I don't remember the last time South Carolina had a really good offensive line. I think they've had solid for a while.
It hasn't been like worthy of a real discussion for a while.
No, like they've never been in the top half of the league.
But they've had some skill guys where it's like, hey, if y'all can hold up.
Yeah. Like they know who they are.
Let us get it to Debo for a minute.
Yeah.
And we'll be fine.
They just put 5 guards on the field and like figure it out. They really do. Like if you look at seriously.
A fair way of saying
I hate to say that, but like I think their left tackle's got a real chance. So if their left tackle can take a step, like I think he's got a chance to be a guy. Too light last year, but maybe this year's gained some weight and will be a little stronger and be able to hold up a little better. But I'm cautiously optimistic about their offense. I am concerned about their defense. I love Clayton White. I think he's awesome.
He's really good.
I think he's awesome. I think he's got a great scheme. I think he empowers the guys. I think the scheme's fantastic. I think they really preach physicality. You cannot replace the 6 guys up front defensively that they lost.
No.
You cannot do it. I don't care how good Dylan Stewart is, and he is amazing. He is incredible. You cannot replace the other pieces around him. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the offense to have to score some points this year.
Let me just play devil's advocate on the defense quickly.
I love it. I'm great with that.
I'm with you. We went to media days last year, and I think you may remember this moment. Our producer asked me to put up my top 5 defensive lines. And I want to say I had South Carolina 2 or 3, and people lost their minds. I'm like, guys, TJ Sanders and Tonka Hemingway have been playing for 5 years.
5.
And they're B-plus players.
Yep.
Give me another team in the league that has 3 or 4 B-plus or higher defensive tackles, proven D tackles in this league right now. Because Georgia doesn't.
Nope.
Bama doesn't. Tennessee did. And that's why they were number 1, I think, and people didn't like that. So I'm with you.
You did roll
there.
the dice, though. I got to give you some credit, though. You saw the forest through the trees. Like, you're like, if this freshman is as good as people are saying he is, then this group's going to be ridiculous. Like, you talked about Dylan Stewart before anyone else did.
Well,
I got to give you some credit there.
Not before recruiting people did, but yes, but maybe like people like us. But let's just hypothetically here. Brian Thomas played a lot of football. Now, he's not Kyle Kennard at all. You do have Goodwine back inside, who's been there for a while.
Yeah.
But the back end, which I will fully admit is my weakness when talking about things, but they loved Jalen Kilgore last year.
Yes.
Judge Collier, and the only reason I remember him is because he's the only other human named Judge outside of my son that I've ever met. DQ Smith has played a ton of football for them. And you have Peyton Williams back, who has played some at safety. So they do have real snaps in the secondary that have played.
They do.
And if there's an ability to disguise some of the things on the back end, or the reverse of what you just said about LSU, if they can hold up their own and be better back there than a lot of other teams, or maybe some defenses have been before,
right?
That might offer that defensive front to be able to sort of grow into what they can be. And then you go get Brownlow Dindy up front from Texas A&M, who maybe turns into a dude. He's one of those guys that we've talked about that they get that are better than we thought they were going to be.
Yep.
Sean Murphy comes in from Florida State and Alabama. He's got the ability at linebacker, but if that light switch comes on, he's all of a sudden maybe a dude. Justin Okonkwo was signed at Alabama.
Yes.
So it's not like he doesn't have skill. So if some of those things happen, all of a sudden we could be looking at this defense saying, hey, and here's what will happen. Here's what people need to understand, because he does it every year. Clayton White will take one thing and he will make it his offseason emphasis. Last year it was pressure packages. He sat down with us and told us, we studied every NFL sack with an unblocked player through the entire league. I had that cut up.
How much
made
fun
for me.
would that be?
Incredible. I mean, dude, I was so enthralled listening to this conversation.
But how fun would it be to have access to that type of cut up?
To ask for that and then get it? Yeah, it would be amazing. And he said, we wanted to know, how are guys getting free? He's like, because we know we can win, but now I just want to present it to you in a way that you're probably not going to block it. And he said, we went through all of it. And so that, like, disguising things, showing things, changing things, and people just don't discount this guy's brilliance. Just go put the LSU game on last year and see the adjustments that they made. It was wild stuff. So I think that group's going to be fine. Will they be as good as last year? Maybe not. But I don't think they're going to be bad. And I don't think they're going to be a liability.
I don't think they're going to be bad. I just think compared to what they were.
And that's fair.
And that's it. And they won games last year because people want to remember Lenore Sellers was awesome. They won games on defense last year.
Yes.
That's when they won
that
games.
Group was legit.
It was not Lenore Sellers like just completely taking it. No, there were some games when he did. But how many
Think
points?
about the plays too. Like, I mean, we brought up the LSU game, and I know some of them got called back, but think about the Oklahoma game.
No doubt.
They had 3 defensive touchdowns the first 4 series.
Thereabouts.
It's like your offense didn't even have to do it. You hand the ball off the whole game.
Yep.
So
I mean, South Carolina last year.
Did they have a pick 6 against Alabama? A defensive touchdown?
I don't recall.
I know they had one big play defensively.
I think they had
something
a big
happened.
pick late, deep in the end zone, or like deep in their own territory.
That's the other part. Like, that defense made plays, man. Like, they made big plays.
No doubt they did.
Yeah, for sure. The Alabama heat and humidity can be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years. And they're the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialty at train.com. It's hard to stop a train. A little bit more South Carolina, and then the rest of the teams are going to be in attendance on Monday. We'll go through all the teams today, what we're expecting, what we want to learn. Dan Wetzel talks NCAA tournament with us at 8. Matt Schick talks a little bit of Big Ten, and he's had some interesting things to say about a certain coach that's no longer at Nebraska. We'll ask him about that. Nick Kelly talks Alabama, gives us his preview of them being in Atlanta on Monday at 9:30. All that and more next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:23, Friday, July the 11th on Jox 94.5. Continue talking SEC Media Days, which begin Monday. We will be in Atlanta live with coverage all week, Monday through Thursday, bringing you live action from the Omni in Atlanta. It's the Omni, right? That's where it is?
I believe so, yeah.
I don't even know where I'm going.
We'll be at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Figure that out.
We'll be at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Radio will be?
Yeah, we were upstairs last time, remember? Remember you walked upstairs, College Football Hall of Fame, we were right there, and you looked over the field?
I remember the ballroom from the previous time.
It was a pretty sweet setup, honestly. Like
you weren't with us the ballroom time.
When were we in? We were in Atlanta like 7 years ago.
It was the first time it was in Atlanta.
Yeah, I remember that.
And there was a giant ballroom, and everyone was like around the outskirts of it staring at each other. The acoustics weren't very good, but it was still fun to be there. But yes, the upstairs at the Hall of Fame was much better. It was really
I liked
cool,
our setup at the Hall of Fame.
It was nice. It was great. So we've kind of gone through a little bit of LSU, a little bit of South Carolina. Ole Miss also going to be there on Monday. And this is another one of those teams. This is going to be a reoccurring theme of boy, there's really some things to like. There's really some things to fall in love with.
Yep.
There's some things to be enamored with.
Yes.
But dig a little deeper, there are some major concerns potentially at certain spots, and that starts up front on defense, G-Mac.
It does. And I really like their quarterback. I really do. I think they got a chance to be excellent at quarterback.
Let me ask you this question just quickly. And I know you're not saying this, and you haven't said this. You haven't even alluded to this. But for some of the people who say, you lose Jackson Dart, you hate Jackson Dart. I love Jackson Dart.
I don't hate him.
I know it's a joke for those.
I know, but people take it serious. Like people will write. That'll be an article.
Write it then. Good. Gets our name in the paper. When was the last time we worried about a quarterback when Lane Kiffin was coaching?
Never.
Seriously, I've never said, well, they're going to the next guy, so probably going to be an issue.
Big rule. Big problem.
Might not be as good as the next guy, but who was the last guy that was a problem for Lane Kiffin playing quarterback? Because it wasn't the running back that he threw a quarterback at Alabama.
Shea Patterson?
Was he bad?
No, he wasn't great,
Hold
though.
on. I don't think he played for Lane, did he?
Did he not? No, he probably didn't.
No, I don't think so. It's just never been an issue. It's never been a real concern. So, it was the 1 year in Alabama there was a little back and forth early.
Well, he had John Rice Plumlee, right?
Yeah, but he figured it out.
I know, but it was, you were definitely a little limited there.
Yeah, that wasn't his fault, I don't think.
But then he went to Matt Corral, who's great.
Yeah, that was Corral's freshman year, right? Because I can remember,
Yeah,
Tyler Siskey was on the show. I remember him telling me, like, I'm telling you, Cole, wait for this freshman. Like, he's going to be the guy. And then I think he played in the Egg Bowl that year, maybe?
Yeah, and I think he started a fight.
Well, it's Matt Corral.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Like, we were on the call for it. It was great. I loved every second of it.
Yeah. I'm with you. You're very high on his skill set. I haven't gotten to the appreciation level of it yet, but like I get it. Like I just don't have it's not a concern for me, and it is for some people. It's going to be different, but it also doesn't have to be elite for Lane's offense to be good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And honestly, I'm telling you, I think this kid's special. Like now, does it mean he's going to be a great player? I don't know that yet. People hear this all the time, and this dates back all the time to talent versus good or elite. Like, you can have elite talent and not be an elite player. You can have average talent and be an elite player. Like, there's a ton of people that fit that mold as well. Like, some of the greatest players in college football history were very average talent-wise. But because the media told you how great they were, and you know how, and they, they had a lot of production because they, scored a lot of touchdowns and did a lot of stuff, and you can kind of, beat up and run the score up on people and have, big numbers and all that stuff. Like, elite talent does not equal elite skill. But man, I'd rather have the elite talent. Like, if I have the elite talent, I got a chance. I think this kid's got elite talent. Like, I think he's a really, really special arm. A little different, lefty. It's a little bit more kind of got a baseball thrower, but he is a natural thrower, man. Lane really likes him, and I do too, and so do other people that have seen him. For instance, last year I'm on the field at Florida. And I was talking to one of Florida's coaches, just a defensive assistant, or I don't recall exactly like what his title is, but he's like, look, man, this Jackson Dart's a handful for sure, but man, I tell you what, you seen the backup? I'm like, yeah. He goes in the game where we got problems. Like, whoa, all right.
You don't hear that from a defensive guy very often. Like, usually you want the backup in no matter what. I don't know. I want the backup in because he's not playing for a reason.
100%.
No matter how much skill he has.
100%. 100%.
Let's give it a go. We'll take our chances.
Let me give you another example. Jackson Dart gets banged up in the Georgia game, right? Turns his ankle. Austin goes in, leads him down the field. They score a touchdown, right? It was an amazing drive. Great performance in the rain. A couple great throws, couple nice third down conversions, had a fourth down conversion in there, all that stuff. How quickly was Jackson Dart trying to get back on the field?
I get it, yeah, but also
Not that he was going to get Wally pipped or anything, but like,
Right.
and you could say, oh, it's the competitor in Jackson. Maybe. Might be. I know quarterbacks.
I don't think I'd look at it that way. I mean, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
listen, nobody. I don't care if it's like this show.
well, if
I
he
don't care
goes
if
in and lights it up,
nobody wants the next guy. Like I can remember when I was in sales, and one of the most successful salesmen in the company was in my region, and we would have breakouts, and they would always ask me. He didn't really want to talk about it, and you could have what they called a tech rep, a guy that, that basically did your dirty work for you, like basically your gopher. Not your witch, but a word close to that. Some people may reference him as that did your things for you.
Yeah.
And he never had one. And his territory was bigger than almost everybody else's.
Right.
And we asked him one day, and he's like, you want me to train my replacement?
Yes.
No, thank you.
No.
I am not about to let anybody start to develop these relationships with my customers and know the ins and outs of my facilities. Absolutely not.
Right.
So in any walk of life, I think that's applicable, but yeah, it's tough to look at it that way.
I understand.
The next guy is just going to be better. You know, I think.
No one says he's going to be better.
Jack Caglione also came up a couple weeks ago and ripped it up for the first couple weeks, and then what happened? People started seeing him for the second, third time. Things were a bit different.
I understand.
Now, he hit one like 490 feet the other night too, so it's like he's going to get his, but. Yeah, let's give him a couple different looks the next few series, which we didn't see how that was going to go.
I understand. All I'm saying is that when a guy goes in and starts lighting it up, it can have an impact on how people perceive how good you are.
At quarterback, you think?
Yeah.
Everybody wants the next guy.
I get that. I'm not saying he's better than Jackson Dart. I'm not saying he's going to be more productive than Jackson Dart.
Okay,
I'm not saying he's the leader that Jackson Dart is.
So that's not a concern. That's not a concern.
I'm not worried about it.
What are you concerned about? Defensive line's an easy one. We know that.
Defensive problem.
You do bring in Princewell Umanmielen, who is nowhere near what Prince Lee Umanmielen is. Deshaun Womack comes in as well. He'll transfer in from LSU. We haven't seen him be consistently really good. Xavier Harris has played some really good football. He's got some Deion Walker problems inside of him. Like he can't keep his pad level low all the time, and he freelances a little bit. You've got a couple other guys up front that have played some good football for you, but it's just there's no part of it that appears to be what it was last year. I love their linebacker room. TJ Daugherty can bang. Centarian Perkins I think he could play almost anywhere on the field. You can put him at slot, and he'd probably catch a couple passes for you. Like the guy is just a football player, and he will help a lot. And the secondary's all new, so I don't know what that group's going to be, but those are all obvious concerns. Offensively, what do you look at and say outside of quarterback you really like and you're really concerned about?
I think they're going to be great at receiver. I really like their additions in the portal. Running back was such a problem last year. It's hard for me not to consider that a problem until proven otherwise. And the offensive line
conundrum last year, just the whole situation.
It was a huge issue. I mean, the whole season.
People forgotten Logan Diggs can bang. Like Logan Diggs can be really good.
Could be, but it's been a bit since we've seen him.
It has.
You know, and that's it. I'm not saying it can't be that. It's a question mark for me. I mean, it's a question mark. So I'm still pretty optimistic about their offense in general. I don't see a scenario where they won't be good offensively. I am a little worried about the offensive line. I think that's fair.
You should be.
But that's partly because. But then again, when have they ever been great on the offensive line? Ever?
Never.
Ever.
I'm fine saying it. They've never been. They've had a great player.
Yeah,
but they've never had a great group that I can
Laramie
recall.
Tunsil was a great player.
Absolutely.
Same page.
Yeah, but they've never had just 4 or 5 dudes, and you've been like, you're gonna have to not get pushed around.
Yes,
that hasn't really
like
been
anchor down, boys. It's gonna be
like Broker was fun to watch, but they didn't have 4 other of him. So
it'd be sweet if they did.
I think everybody would take 4 Nick Brokers. Like you'd be ripping if that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Call me crazy. I have a real hard time envisioning a scenario where the offense won't rip.
Is it bad for me to be overly concerned about how new it all is? It's all outside of Caden Lee. It's almost all new receivers. It's a couple new offensive linemen. It's a whole new secondary. It's a couple new guys in the front seven. And I know Lane does it every year. That's what people are going to say, but it feels like a lot new this year. So the continuity. We'll spend some more time on the other side. Before we get to that, tell our listeners about Bromberg's.
Well, Bromberg's been serving this community for a really long time. Ran to one of their incredible managers yesterday. Kind of runs the Mountain Brook store, and he's just such a good guy. I was with my wife, and of course he busts my chops like, "Hey, we still gonna get her that piece of jewelry she's been wanting?" Like, he knows what people want. Like, he already knows what we're in the market for. He knows my wife's preferences. He knows everything that we're looking for when we walk in the door at Bromberg's. I mean, that you have that personal touch, that personal appreciation, the name recognition, all this other stuff, man. It just makes the buying process a lot more seamless. It makes it fun. And it also makes it easy because he can probably point me in the direction better than me just walking around the cabinets trying to figure out which one I want to buy. I really appreciate the service and the high level quality that you get when you shop at Bromberg's. That's why I don't shop anywhere else. It's just that good. It's that elevated of an experience. I know you guys will have the exact same feeling second you walk in the door at Bromberg's. They've been around for 200 years nearly. So there's a reason why they've been around that long. It's because they have people like they have. They're the very best, and you guys will absolutely love your experience when you walk in the door. Check out the diamonds, check out the gold, silver, platinum jewelry. It's just beautiful. They have incredible watches. Highly recommend going and checking out Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit.
All right, when we come back, more on early SEC Media Days participants right here on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I have an interesting golf topic for you in our next segment.
Oh, boy.
Which I know you love. What tournament's coming up this weekend?
I don't know.
Okay.
Scottish Open.
You're right, because Chris Gotterup just tied the course record with a 61.
Love it.
Leader in the clubhouse.
You going to tune in?
I do like that Gotterup he looks to be a little bit more on the hefty side.
You're about that life, aren't you?
He's thick. What's his background? Tell me about him. Give us the bio.
He's a rookie, I think.
Great bio. Thank you. Now I feel like I know him.
Don't you feel dialed up? He's got a stash.
In this photograph, he does look like a little bit of a heavier, who's the country guy we were talking about earlier in the week? Popular guy. The guy that Ryan Glass-Steagall says is the most popular person on earth.
Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, he looks like a little, if Morgan Wallen went Elvis, that's what he looks like. Late Elvis, by the way. But I will say the white pants, you can't do that when you're over 225. Don't do that, guys.
Let's get some bio. Let's get a size. He's 210. 6 foot 210.
Okay, 210 in golf is 310 in football. So you have to use my numbers.
You're not wrong.
Use my numbers.
He played lacrosse for 12 years and loves music. His favorite sports teams are the New York Knicks and the New Jersey Devils.
Poor guy.
His father, Morton, has 5 New Jersey State Golf Association victories. His younger sister, Anna, attends the U.S. Naval Academy and competes on the women's lacrosse team.
Let's go.
And he went to Rutgers.
Okay, there it is. And now he holds the course record wherever they're playing the Scottish Open.
In Scotland.
Somewhere.
Yes. There's a couple courses over there.
There's a few. He owns the course record at one of them, so that'll get going there. So we've gone through the Monday participants at SEC Media Days outside of Vanderbilt. Here's the thing about Vandy, and people are going to say, well, everybody's seen it now, so it's just going to go away. I will not allow that to be a real conversation. At times it might go away. There may be teams that match up with them very well that can make it go away. But I think that offense has too many options inside of it to just disappear. The offensive line's a massive question mark. Multiple portal kids that are going to try to step in and help. But let's remember, you have Eli Stowers, who is a matchup nightmare.
Great player.
I think Cedric Alexander's the most underrated running back in the league. He might be in the discussion for the most underrated player in the league.
You won't find any pushback from me there.
And I'm just off the top of your head. I don't know the answer to this. I'm going to find out. What do you think his high was in carries for the season?
23.
See, I would think that's high. 21 last year.
Mm.
You know how many times he had 20 carries last year?
4.
That time.
That's it?
That's the only one. So I'm saying this guy hadn't even gotten the chance to show people what he's really capable of. Outside of that 21, he had 17 twice. He had 13 in the bowl game and 12 2 other times. That was it. He had a couple 11s, a couple 10s, a 9. So I think he could be special. Now, you're going to need to block people. If that's going to happen.
That's true. I've heard that helps.
Place. I think you have a solid wide receiver in Junior Sherrill. Now, he's not AJ Green. I get it. But you bring in a couple portal kids. It might be a step above what you had a year ago, and the whole defense is back. So I think you got guys like Langston Patterson, Randon Fontenot, guys second, third level that have played a ton of ball, and now it's the second year that he's got his hands back on the defense. They should be very optimistic about what they have a chance to be this year.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, I don't have any problems with that. I think Vandy's going to be a bowl team, but I don't think they're going to sneak up on people the way they snuck up on people last year. I just think they're going to have people's full attention. Doesn't mean you can stop them, or doesn't mean they won't have a day or two when Diego's got the hot hand and they get hot and they roll. But I just don't think you're going to be caught off guard by Vandy, like several teams were last year. Bama being one, Virginia Tech being one. There were a couple others that were just completely caught off guard by what Vandy was doing. I think that there is some substance to what they were able to accomplish, and I think it's in all likelihood they'll probably be in a pretty good spot. But Vandy being a kind of perennial bowl team is a heck of a place to be.
And I think they could be past just bowl eligible also. But let me ask you this: can that offense expand in your mind, stylistically or strategically? Or do you kind of, based on what you've seen of it, is there a progression, another step or two that realistically can be made, or does that have more to do with just there are some limitations in Diego's game and they probably can't get to that?
I think there are limitations in
no
Diego's
doubt.
game. I mean, there's no denying that. I don't think he's super accurate. I do think there's games when he's like on fire. Alabama game being one of them. Not a single ball wasn't thrown exactly where it needed to be. Yeah, he didn't complete all his passes, but every single one of his passes was catchable, which is pretty remarkable because they took some shots in that game as well. So he's a bit streaky, which is fine. But at the same time, you catch him on the wrong day with Vandy, and you're in trouble. You catch him on the right day, like LSU did, or some others, you're fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's I think what kind of has me always feeling a little bit uneasy about getting way behind them, because they're going to be a bit of a roller coaster. That's just kind of how Diego plays. Like, he's going to turn it over 3 times in one game like he did last year. I think it was against Texas, where we were sitting there like, golly, what the heck? Like, why is he playing? Why is he being so reckless with the ball?
I had that game. Yes, you're right.
So there's going to be some games like that, but there's also going to be some games like Bama where he can't miss.
Correct. All right, so that would be Monday, and there's obviously going to be questions that we have about those teams. There's concerns about those teams, guys that we want to talk to. Diego Pavia will be there for Vanderbilt, so that obviously is going to be interesting because he'll make noise just based on some of the things that he says and just his personality, sort of who he is. So that of course will be fun. You mentioned Ole Miss. Austin Simmons will be there, so we'll begin to get to know him a little bit, learn about him some, kind of what he's capable of. Not going to get Ty Simpson for Alabama when they come a little bit later in the week. And we asked the question yesterday, Greg, is there anything to read into that? You say no. There should be no concerns about Alabama not having their quarterback at media days.
I'm not concerned about it. I don't think I'd take him to media days. Not at this point. Just because he hasn't won the job yet. I mean, let's be real. Like, he hasn't won the job. So until he wins the job, it's kind of hard to put him at media days. And that is a competition that is ongoing. And the staff has said that while he is the front runner, while he is the guy that if the game were to be played on July 11th, he's starting, doesn't mean that it'll be the same in 6 weeks when they actually tee it up for the first time.
Right. And Tuesday, Georgia will be in attendance. Their quarterback most likely will be there in Gunnar Stockton. While not being named the starter, you do think this is at least a little bit of a nudge from Kirby Smart as to, we like this guy. He's probably in the lead of this competition. Therefore, he's going to be there to be able to represent us in Atlanta.
Yeah. And he started before. I mean, he started their most recent game.
Right.
So, and we've seen him a couple times. So I don't think that one is, I'm not as capable of reading into that one as I am in some other spots.
Game Day Men's Health is capable of making you feel better. If you are feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, lacking energy, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you. It's easy. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now, and you have a free consultation where you get a free PSA test, free testosterone test, and they know where your baseline health is right then, right there. Also, the peptides are now in stock. Anti-aging, better sleep for arthritis. Your body discontinues making these over time, and they can get them back in there to be able to help you with certain ailments. Locker room environment, no stress, great people at Game Day Men's Health, holistic approach to health and wellness. Why not just go get the free consultation and see where you are? If there's a party that's not feeling great that you think could feel better, including weight loss, they have multiple programs there. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today, see what they can do for you. Take that free consultation, minimal upfront cost from the programs they offer, and you can save 10% on any program they have by mentioning Mac and Q. Back with more right after this. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:53, Friday, July 11th, right here on Jox 94.5. Auburn in the house as well. I think we know where a lot of the conversation is going to go, Greg, with Hugh Freeze. Some folks are probably going to ask him about golf, which brings me to this. And I don't know if you saw this or not. Trey Lamb, you familiar with his work?
I am.
Head coach at Tulsa?
Yes.
He is also an Oklahoma Golf Association state amateur qualifier. As tweeted by the football account.
Player.
Not a recruiter, though, I guess.
Can't recruit.
Doesn't care about winning. Not focused on football.
No. Absolutely not.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, in order to qualify for the state amateur, you have to keep your scores?
Yes.
He's in trouble then.
Well, you have to be
If you keep your scores in golf, you can't be a football coach.
No.
That's what I've heard.
Because
what's more detrimental to your coaching? Scoring less in the second half or keeping score of your golf?
It's a good question. It's kind of amazing to me that that was still a story, but especially when every single coach I talked to asked him, hey, can you maybe hop on the, granted, we had like a couple seconds here before, hey, can you hop on the show this week? Hey, man, I would, but I'm leaving here. As soon as I leave here, I'm going to Coeur d'Alene. As soon as I'm leaving here, I'm going to our place in Florida. As soon as I'm leaving here, we're going to Montana. I just bought a place at Whitefish Bay. As soon as I'm leaving here, we're going back to California. As soon as I'm leaving here, we're going to Tahoe. As soon as I'm leaving here, we're going to Canton, Texas. That's where Prime went.
I was about to say, who's the one guy that's not going to a cool place?
Yeah, that'd be Prime. Canton. He goes, man, I get off the grid, man. It's great. I love it. I hate being. I love those weeks when I get those weeks. I just get to sit and chill. So I was like, heck yeah. It's like Prime, Canton, Texas.
I didn't know that Idaho was a legitimate vacation destination.
Big time.
You were telling me this from Big 12 Media Days. And we had a birthday dinner for one of our neighbors last night. A bunch of people over, had dinner in their backyard. And one of the guys that was there was telling me in a couple weeks he's going on vacation to Idaho.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He's like he said, my dad has always gone. And he's kind of told me about it. And now we're going to go. And he's like, I can't wait. And I said, I had no idea that people vacationed there.
It's 70 degrees on the hottest day, and the sun goes down at 10:30. So tell me where...
That could be bad if you have kids, by the way.
It would, but YOLO.
My kids are constantly, Dad, the sun's still out. I'm like, it's 8.
Our kids were like that last
You're
night.
Going to bed.
Why do I have to go to bed? It's 9:15.
It's light out. Not when I turn yours off.
Not in your room, it's not.
Exactly. Why are we extending the field in the NCAA tournament? What's behind it? How far does it go? We're going to have that conversation when we come back with Dan Wetzel, now of ESPN, next on Jox. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 2 underway, 8 a.m. Friday, July 11th, right here on Jox. Listen online, joxfm.com. App is in your app store. iPhone and Android can download those for free. We're going to move away from Media Day discussion, Media Days, plural, for just a moment. Talk some NCAA tournament, maybe even a little bit of NFL and some things happening behind the scenes there. With Dan Wetzel. First, before we move to that, Greg, if you're looking to move out of your home or just need something moved in your home, who should you call?
That'd be Crocker Moves. There's a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys, and you can trust them in your home. Whether your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchase need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's CrockerMovingServices.com. That's CrockerMovingServices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
Dan Wetzel's covered college sports for a long time. He does it as well as anyone and not afraid to give you his real thoughts on why certain things are happening. Dan, is it too simple to just say greed? And I actually don't even mean financial greed, but greed as in we want more of our teams in no matter what it takes as to the genesis of this NCAA tournament potentially expanding?
Yeah, Cole, I think probably it. There really isn't a good reason for this. It's not a big financial deal. You're not going to get a huge bump in TV revenue or anything like that by adding these early games. It's more, we want more teams in from these certain conferences. If you're a coach, if you're an AD, you get a little bonus in your contract, things like that. But it's just more when those are the only people that are really served by this. There's no groundswell of support from fans. We're not seeing those first 4 games that get played up in Dayton, getting huge TV ratings or anything like that. So there's not like a built-up demand. It's just simply like, well, we should just expand this tournament because this is what we do. I think the original sin of the NCAA basketball tournament was going from 64, which just was perfect numerically, fit on a page, fit on a computer screen, to 68. And now they're just compounding it by trying to go to 76 or talking about 76. So there's no good reason. And that's really the part that is baffling on this. If they came back and said, hey, look, we're going to get another $500 million or something like that, hey, I get it. But they're not. And when you ask them who's asking for this, who wants this, they'll say, well, we'll get more players will get a chance to be in the NCAA basketball tournament. But I don't think those early first 4 games up in Dayton, that kind of experience is really the NCAA basketball tournament for him. So it's not really a good reason, and that's the hardest part on this.
Understandable. I guess my whole thing is, does it really matter? I guess I'm not trying to, because I guess I just don't care. And partly because the arguments between 64, 68, 72, it's kind of inconsequential. Like, it'll settle itself down. Now, if they go to 96, I'm going to have some problems with that. But I guess adding another 4, like, does it really impact what we're watching? Does it really impact the viewer experience? Does it really impact the tournament experience?
So I would agree with you there that this is not the most pressing issue in America. Okay.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you came. I'm glad we came to that conclusion. Perfect.
Well, I'm not going on a hunger strike or, storming the streets over this. It'll be all right. But, and look, more basketball. Like, I always say this about bowl games. You hear these people, it's too many bowl games. Why? Don't watch. Like, the easiest thing to do is not watch. It literally requires nothing. So this is not that big of a deal. But for the NCAA basketball tournament, they have this very valuable thing in sports in that they own 2 days on the calendar. The Thursday and Friday of the start of the NCAA basketball tournament. And when you start now going from a couple games on Tuesday and Wednesday to 6 games all day, Tuesday and Wednesday, you can confuse your product. You can confuse the fans. At some point, they're saying, when does this begin? And what you lose isn't the hardcore fans. I'm sure all of us would watch or not care, or most of the people listening. But one of the beauties of this event is it gets my wife into it. It gets people that don't care at all about college basketball. They love the bracket. They love that this thing kind of starts. It's mayhem all day. People take the day off. They watch while they're at work. They watch while they're at class. Whatever they're doing, it's this big thing. And when you threaten that by actually starting this event on Tuesday, can you really hold that up? So there is a threat there. I kind of use the old adage, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. And at what point do you push too far? And it's really for what purpose? And that's my thing. If you were like, hey, look, we've got these 25-5 teams out of the ACC can't get in. Okay, fine. There's all this money. Fine. Our first 4 games are getting 5-6 million people watching. People want to see this. Fine. But to me, what is this going to be other than games no one's really that excited about, teams no one's that excited about, and you threaten the great, vibrant beat, the calendar of this incredible event that takes a sport that isn't that big of a deal and makes it a big deal every year.
Dan Wetzel of ESPN joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Article up now at ESPN.com about basically why the NCAA tournament is looking to expand. Going a little bit further with what potentially could be problematic here, because what you just referenced about bowl games, we ask the question all the time: what are you watching? Like reruns of MASH? Like it's tackle football. I mean, we're in tournament basketball games. We're in. It doesn't really matter who we are going to watch, and most folks are still going to be into it. Is there a portion though of a little bit more shift of power? Who's deciding who's competing and being a part of things becoming a little bit more dangerous?
What do you mean by that?
As in, maybe not as many automatic qualifiers for actually accomplishing something, but because of your affiliation with a certain conference, oh, by the way, you're now in 17-17 Northwestern, or 18-19 Missouri, or getting in because, well, there's more teams from the SEC that are going to get bids, or the Big Ten that are going to get bids. Instead of, hey, you actually won your conference, you do now get one of these spots.
Yeah, most of these spots are going to go to the major schools. And they use this bit where they say, look, college basketball now has like 360 teams in it. It's totally ridiculous. It's hysterical. It's the best part of it, though. 360 teams trying for one championship. Like, nobody would design this. They're from all over. But the growth that has happened is in the small conferences. It's Division II's teams, Division III teams moving up and joining the Northeast Conference and the Metro Atlantic Conference and all these little schools. They're still one-bid leagues. The Power Five, the 4 football conferences in the Big East, are getting over half their teams in. The SEC had 14 of their 16 teams in last year. If you're any good, you're getting in this thing. So it really isn't a need on that. And so to say, like you said, one more Northwestern that's 500, is that why we're doing this? What is the point here? And what's the risk involved? So it's just, until they've not come up with a good reason. Their only reason is we've added 100 teams to Division I since 1985. But those 100 are still playing essentially in a system where they only can get one bid. I think there's only one team. Matt Norlander at CBS did this research. I think there's only one team that's gone Division I since '85 that's won a game as an at-large in the tournament since, and that's Central Florida. Everybody else, it has had no impact. So the expanding thing doesn't really matter. This is about getting couple more from the ACC, the SEC, the Big Ten, and it's just like, I don't know.
So who benefits from this? I mean, is it basically college coaches like you referenced? Because if it doesn't change the SEC's money, doesn't change the Big Ten's money, why, I don't know why they would care. And it doesn't really, it might even in a way kind of cut off your nose to spite your face, because now your regular season matters even less. So who benefits from this outside of the coaches that have March Madness appearances in their contract?
We haven't found anybody. That's it. And when you ask, you say, who's this for? And they'll say, well, it's for the players get the experience. More players get the experience. And I get that argument, but it's one thing when you show up at a sub-regional and you're in a dome or you're in an NBA stadium, right? We're going to do the sub-regional in Madison Square Garden, and you get to go play, and you're at some school. And there's Duke, and there's Kansas, and this is exciting. I might be a 14 seed, but this is a memorable moment for my life, right? That's different than you've got to hustle right after Selection Sunday. You've got to get on a plane, scramble to Dayton, Ohio, or other sites like that, and play a game with no notice, no prep time, no fanfare. Yeah, Tom Izzo isn't over there. You're playing another 16 seed or an 11 seed, and then you're done by Tuesday night. I don't think that's the NCAA experience. You guys are college athletes, and great ones. You play a different sport, but I imagine you get into the NCAA tournament on Sunday, you're walking around campus for a couple of days, and you get that whole experience of being everyone excited. These guys don't do that. They got to hustle off for these first games and just be a TV product that, quite honestly, most people watching are just gambling on.
And that's what a lot of people are going to, I guess, shoot for, that audience and what they're going to do and what they want to see as far as moving forward. Dan Wetzel of ESPN with us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking NCAA tournament, but also there have been there's some union discussion with you around the NFL and kind of what's happening there, and doing some research there, talking to different people there. It's a phrase that we continue to hear about college football. And I'm just interested in all the research that you've done, the books that you've written, the articles that you've written of, is the stopping point in college football to unionize and for players to be labeled employees? That's a big question with a lot of different answers, but I would love to hear sort of your 1,000-foot view of it.
I think that's where we have to end up getting to. I think the pesky Sherman Antitrust Act is going to get in the way of every plan colleges come up with. We all understand college athletics. We all love college athletics, right? We love the peculiarity of it, or however the word is. But when you take that outside and you throw it in front of a federal judge, they seem to be confused and like, what are you guys doing over here? You're paying them, but they're not employees, but what are they? They're students, but they can't do this. And so we end up with things like 2 transfer portals. Like, totally nonsensical unless you don't care about the sport. You go, well, you can't keep a regular student from transferring every semester, so how can you do this? So at some point, they need to make them employees. And I think eventually we're going to get there, probably through the Supreme Court ruling that way. If you read Brett Kavanaugh's concurring opinion the last time they were there, he basically said that. He's like, do not come back up here. We're gonna destroy this thing. He's very clear. It's a very interesting document. So you probably have to make them employees, and then you probably have to let them have a union. Now, I understand there's places in the country that are opposed to that. This would be a very weak union. A union's power is only in its ability to do a work stoppage. And those are really hard to do. It's hard to get 1,000 people living in the exact same town in Ohio, working the same job, making the same money, going to church together and Little League and all knowing each other, to go on a strike and shut down a plant to get better health care or something like that. to try to get players, 10,000 players, to go on strike, it's never going to happen. So allowing the players eventually to have a players association, I don't think it would be, really a bad thing for college athletics. You're going to be able to get all the rules you want, and you're really not risking a lot by dealing with some difficult labor union. Kids want to play. They've got a good deal. There's not going to be a work stoppage and things. But I think eventually that's where we're going to get to. Is it what everybody wants? No. But that's, to me, legally is just how this is going to end up.
Finally, as you look at kind of where we're going as far as the playoff structure, been kind of interesting. We already talked to us about the basketball postseason. Now the football postseason. I'm a little bit surprised, frankly, that the Big 12 and the ACC have been as adamant about the 5+12 model as they have been. I'm curious your thoughts on where you think we end up as it relates to the playoff structure in college football.
Well, I prefer we don't do anything. Personally, I'll take 5 automatic bids, 7 at large. I'd like to at least see this thing cook a little bit. Let's see what we've got. Maybe it works great. Maybe we find some things wrong that we don't know about, all of those things. But I think we're going to end up 16. And I think we're going to end up with 5 and 11. You can make the argument for the Big 12 and the ACC. Hey, you're going to get 2 bids automatically. That's a good deal. They are opposed to the idea of taking less spots because it makes them second class, officially a second tier program. And they go, what are they going to do next to us? So they want to compete on the field. Let them compete on the field. I think the Big Ten and the SEC are going to get 4 or more teams in every single year. I would say do it. I don't like the 4 automatic bids because the way they were setting it up, the way Tony Petitti at the Big Ten wanted to do it was have a championship day where the third team's playing the 6th team in his league and the 4th. The playoff quickly becomes as many as 28 teams. Basically are in a play, because that's, you call it a play-in or you can call it the first round, and you're starting to get 6 and 6 and 7 and 5 teams getting a shot at the playoff, and that is a dramatic change in the way the sport is played. You don't really have to have a great regular season. It takes anything out of non-conference games. It doesn't matter. You can lose all your non-conference, finish 6th in your regular season in your conference, and you got a chance to you're basically in the playoff. I don't like how it changes dramatically the way the sport is competed with. I'd much prefer 5 and 11, although I think 12 teams is plenty, and 5 and 7 would be good for a while.
Absolutely. Dan, great stuff. Thanks for the time today. A couple great articles that have come your way recently, ESPN.com. You can find his work there. Look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Always an honor to be on with you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so Dan Wetzel talking a little bit of NCAA tournament. We'll get to your thoughts on the other side. I want to hear your response to that. And he went exactly where you went, referencing a college football union. Greg has hammered it time and time again. They would get absolutely destroyed. And I love what Dan Wetzel said about potential work stoppage.
Yeah.
The ability to be able to round that up and realistically make that happen. You're going to go tell a kid from nowhere, Mississippi, whose parents have 0 and is all of a sudden making $50,000 a month.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we need you to hold out for the greater good of the future of the SEC.
No, I think we're good.
No, thanks, man. I'll take my check.
Yeah.
And then that's going to happen in West Virginia, and that's going to happen in Northern California, and that's going to happen in Iowa, and that's going to happen in Miami, and that's going to happen in Mobile. No.
Not happening.
No, it's an easy no is all it is. So we'll finish that conversation next. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. To wrap up our conversation on a college football player unionizing, Dan Wetzel, right in line with what you've said for a long time, Greg, that it would be very difficult for that to have and hold a lot of power, a lot of strength.
Right.
And you have been involved in it, and you have been involved in the negotiations of one in the sport of football, obviously not college.
Right.
But take us a little bit deeper into just where you think a lot of the difficulties would come from.
Well, I think they would come from, one, getting guys aligned. Two, not everybody's the same. Like, I think that it'd be impossible to speak on behalf of college football players that are playing at all different levels. I mean, the guys that are in the G5 are, for all intents and purposes, in some cases, playing for nothing. Guys in the P5 are playing for millions of dollars. They're not even close to the same. Like, at least in the NFL, everyone's at least like making some money. They have their health care covered. Like, they have. I mean, there's some similarities, not necessarily financially equitable across the board, but there's some similarities for the most part. I just think there's way too many guys.
Yep.
And there's no chance of you being able to get guys all together, pulling the same direction. Because tell me this, you get the Power 5 guys to walk. All right, so you got UAB. All right, let's just say you get UAB, Troy.
Alabama A&M starting left tackle for 1/3 of what he was getting. Would you like to transfer in and play?
Yes. How would you like to? Do you want to come
Actually,
play?
for 1/100th,
You want to come play for the Tide? Let's go. It's not all the same. There's different levels. In the NFL, there's one level. You can't just hold out and be like, the NFL is going to replace all their players with the UFL players. Like, it's not likely to happen. So I don't know, man. I think there's zero shot. Plus, I also think there's just so much leverage for the universities in some cases too, because there's always more guys. What about the guys that are walk-ons?
Well, if we're going to have them moving forward, I mean, we don't know exactly what the roster.
I'm saying, like, in the current format.
Sure.
Like, those guys they literally would cut off their arm to go play for the Tennessee Volunteers.
It's kind of wild how that argument has changed. It used to be, Jason Williams and these other guys would tell you, you got to sit. You got to sit out. Show your power. You got to sit. And we hear more conversations like this that essentially say, yeah, that you don't need to do that. That would probably not end well for you. Because now we've seen that, hey, a guy from FCS, he can come play in the Power 5.
No doubt.
He can come play in the SEC. He's not going to get just bulldozed into the stands on every play. Life might actually go on, which is a bit of a wild concept.
Could.
So it's interesting how that sort of thought process has changed a little bit over time. And very different now than what it was a couple of years ago, 5-8 years ago, when the whole mantra was they've got to show their power and sit, or what happens when they sit out and don't play. I would have loved to see what happened in our locker room if a guy came up and said, hey, we're not going to play today. Why not? We got to help out the next 3 generations of football player. Okay.
Yeah.
You enjoy that. We're
Correct.
about to go try to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, can you imagine like an SEC championship game for you guys?
Yeah,
Hey,
I can't go today, guys. I really, really want to make sure that when my brother's coming up in 4 years, he's in a better place than where we're at. Yeah. All right.
Imagine this tackle at Texas Tech that's getting 5.1 guaranteed. Hey, things are looking really bleak 20 years from now. We need you to sit out. Sacrifice that dough.
Yeah. It's what's right.
Nah, man. I'll see you out there on the field. I got to go warm up.
Yeah.
It's just not a real thing. It just isn't. But
it works if you're a guy that's trying to represent them all and take a cut.
Sounds great.
It's kind of sleazy.
Sounds really cool then.
Super sleazy, but I get it. Good luck.
All right, we'll continue a little bit of that conversation, not one that we want to spend a ton of time on, but also go back to SEC Media Days and just some of the folks that we're interested in hearing from, what our expectations are. Before we do that, GMAC, tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, Polar Bear Services has done so many things around my house. I've really appreciated everything that they've been able to do. For me, it's been great. Bring them out for electrical, bring them out for small appliance repair, bring them out for my HVAC system. They've been helping me out a lot with that. We know it's hot. We know it's putting your system to the test. Don't get put in a difficult spot if you are sitting there in your home, it's triple digits outside, and your HVAC system goes down. Get out in front of it. Do some preventative maintenance. That's why Polar Bear Services always comes out. They check my whole home comfort system to make sure it's running smoothly before it gets crazy hot here, end of July, early August. That's the worst time of the year as far as temperature and heat. So make sure you're not caught off guard with your system going on the blink. So call Polar Bear Services all the time. They're the very best. And just ask them if they can help you out. They can, because they've helped me out in so many different areas around my home. So remember, if you got a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heater, air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
Okay, when we come back, more on our expectations for next week in Atlanta with SEC Media Days right after this. SEC Media Days next week. We'll be there live, giving you coverage for the entire week. We mentioned Monday LSU was going to be there. Some good news for LSU yesterday. Number one overall recruit, offensive lineman, defensive lineman Lamar Brown has committed. You want to take a guess at his high school? Number one player in Louisiana?
Baton Rouge Lab.
Close.
Shreveport Evangel.
University Lab.
Oh, University Lab.
So he's basically committed to go to school where he already goes to school.
It's a good spot. Short commute.
I don't think we talk enough about the recruiting advantages of a high school that is on your campus.
Is that built in? Is that helpful? You're telling me that helps.
It may actually give you an unofficial visit. It's got to be tough across the street.
Well, Marcus Spears.
I think somebody told me some of their classes are in the stadium too.
Marcus Spears told me that he literally never, not one time, did he ever go to the campus of the LSU Tigers in his time living there. Say he never went, not once. Isn't that wild?
Wait a minute. When he was enrolled at University Lab?
University Lab, he said he never went on campus.
Where did he do school?
I don't know. I don't think their campus is literally on campus. I think it's
I was told that they go to school on campus.
Maybe they do now. He was going to school there 25 years ago. Maybe I don't think it was like that.
Then is it Southern Lab, or there's another lab that is on the Southern campus? Yeah. And you go to school there. So
yeah, that's right.
It's
that's true.
Yep. And it's different, man. But yeah, a little bit of an edge there. If he's the number one recruit in the nation, according to some, the number one player in Louisiana, and he's going to LSU, go ahead and project it right now. O-line or D-line?
D-line.
Yeah, I don't think that's really even a debate. Although the recruiting articles that I have read about him say that he is a better offensive lineman than defensive lineman right now. But he doesn't appear to be like your prototypical offensive line build. So, like, he looks like he could be a D lineman. Like, we know most of the guys that are playing D line that are going to move to O line.
Right.
He doesn't look like that.
You're not seeing that.
No, he looks like a dude that could easily withstand staying over on that side of the ball.
I gotcha. Yeah. That checks out. You
So,
don't say. I feel like if I could play O line or D line, no disrespect, because I know you'll take it that way, I'd probably pick O line or probably pick D line.
No, I tried to pick D-line. I've told the story of I did not play down of offense in high school. The one down of offense that I played, we had a procedure penalty on me on a tight end reverse pass that I was supposed to throw because I put my hand in the day. And it was sort of a rainy night, and I was like, man, I got to throw with this hand. And so I right as I got down, I got back up and wiped my hand off, and it was a procedure penalty, and we never ran the play again, and we were done with it. But that was it. And so I got to Auburn. I knew I was probably going to O-line. I was like, listen, I just want to play in the SEC. Let's do it. No problem.
Right.
But then we had a couple of injuries my freshman year when I was redshirting on the defensive line the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I remember this.
And Bill Oliver's like, man, we need to get you. We need to get you over here. I want you. I'm trying.
I've been telling you, I've been trying to get Coach to get on board.
Please try harder. Have you seen this trick at guy in meetings? Please. How much do I need to pay you to do this?
Yes.
And so we're in the weight room one morning. This is in season. Of course, we had to work out at 6.
No, 5.
Required. The 1:30, the 1:30 and noon options we weren't allowed to utilize those.
Better see you in there early, boy.
And Coach Trickett comes up to me and he says, I'm over on the bike just doing like my own little warm up. And he says, they won't move your ass to defense. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
He goes, you want to do that? And I said, Coach, I want to help the team. If you guys need me on defense and I can play, I'll play defense. If you need me on offense and I can play, I'll play offense. I said, I want to play, number 1, and I want to help the team, number 2. That might have been backwards, but that's what my brain was right then.
Yeah.
And he said, you would do it. You would go to defense.
You would do it.
You want to do that? And I said, if it helps the team, Coach, yes. He goes, they ain't getting you. I knew it.
I knew you were a traitor. I knew it. You traitor.
I told him, no, you're stuck with me. And I'm like, what are we doing? Why did I talk?
You could have just kept it quiet.
I should have just said, you decide, Coach. My life is in your hands now. Why did we even have this conversation? That and the baseball conversation are the best stories I've got.
100% worthless.
You should have kept your mouth shut and just gone about your day. You don't matter. Golly. But of course it's defense. Like, unless you've had some knee injuries or something, it would just be so much more fun to play.
Yeah.
Which, looking back on it now, as banged up as I was anyway, I mean, I'd have probably been shredded if I'd have played defense. My knees have been done.
It'd be
made
way
it through
more
my 5
fun.
years of college.
Plus your sound effects when you're playing.
That was actually that's something else about Trigger that I haven't told you.
What's that?
So we would be going through the chutes. The chutes, if you guys don't know, how do I describe this? It's like a third of a cage. So it has the framework of a cage, but it's like 3 feet high, and you get in your stance and you come out of your stance through the chutes, so you keep your pad level low.
Right.
And then you get the guys that are a little overweight and tall, and it's like their helmet bong every time they go through.
Every time.
And then we would do T-boards. So we had these long straight pads, and to work your steps the proper direction, you would step over the T-board and then go block somebody. Well, we're just doing that against another guy holding the pad, or we're going through the chutes and there's nobody, just on air. And he was like, "You guys don't even care. You should hear yourself going through the chute. I can't even hear you." He's like, "Give me a damn war cry or something coming through here." So he wanted us to like yell when we would go. And I remember DeMarcus Curry, God love him. He was the absolute best at it. He would come to that chute and he would be like, and you're just like, is he okay? Is he going to make it? And he's just yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs. And Trickett loved it. He's like, "Dude, Curry cares. You can tell. It means something to him." He's like, he goes, "Just listen to him. It means something to him. He wants it more than y'all." Like, I'm sorry, I'm not focused on my verbals when I'm trying to block Booger McFarland.
No.
It's not really at the top of mind there, Coach. But yeah, he wanted us to have, like, he called it a war cry. You had to have a war cry when you came off the ball.
I love it.
It's the same guy that you know how you do warm-ups and you come back in the locker room for a complete waste of 5 minutes and then you go right back out?
Yes.
He wanted us to go do curls in the corner. He's like, "Damn it, when they see your guns, I want them to know what's coming." I'm like, "They don't care about my biceps.
They might.
It's Richard Seymour, for God's sake. I'm not scaring Marcus Stroud. Cornelius Griffin is not scared of my arms. What are we doing?"
I mean, that's hilarious.
"Get your ass over there and get a pump." That's what he was saying. Go get a pump.
God, it's so dumb. Why is that so dumb? Oh my
And
God.
Geno James took it so serious. He'd be over there. It's like, "Geno, you're on rep 80. You have the best biceps on the team. Stop. Like, what are you doing?"
By the way, if I may, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, O-linemen don't have good arms.
There's not many whose biceps have real definition.
Sorry.
There's not a lot.
Like, all right, I can
There's
understand.
only one Larry Allen.
No, if you want, I mean, and even he didn't have good arms. Like, O-linemen have kind of fat arms, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You guys are 330 pounds. No one expects you to be chiseled. Like, why would he have you go get a pump? Like, if nothing else, like, go put eye black on or something. Like, go put something. Go make yourself intimidating.
Get
Go
the Latimer
go
face,
go
like,
Latimer, dude.
Paint
Put
the
the
Punisher
skull.
face on your face. Yeah.
I mean,
go get a pump.
Go get a pump. You guys have cellulite on your triceps. Like, what are you talking about? Golly. Oh, God.
I want full intimidation out there.
Go get a pump. Oh, my God. The only lineman I saw with great arms, seriously, I mean, he, like, really did have some, like, shoulder definition and was, like, cut up as Tyron Smith. He's, like, the only guy
Evan
that was,
Mathis was in that category.
Was he? All right, so Mathis.
I mean, he had, like, 10% body fat. All
right, so Mathis, Tyron Smith, DeBrickashaw Ferguson. I mean, Andrew Whitworth's like one of the better left tackles of his generation.
One of the
no
arms. Yeah,
no arms.
Single piece of definition at all.
I mean,
Geno James and Kendall Simmons probably had the best chance of looking good with no shirt on as an offensive lineman. And like you said, like, I mean, they would have to like flex as hard as possible after doing 100 curls.
Correct.
And maybe you get like a little bit of a ball effect on the top.
Maybe.
Not much. Not that just what Go get a pump.
Go get a pump. I just think it's hilarious.
The hell out of them
Let me
guys.
tell you what I'm not scared of. If I were you, I would have gone over there and like gone the stretching machine and like try to stretch my arm. Like when I look at O linemen, I'm not looking at their bicep tricep definition. I'm looking at how long their arms on. Can they scratch their knee standing straight up? Because those are the guys I don't want to see.
Exactly.
Those guys are the beasts.
You're not getting around that, dude.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
No chance.
That was it, though. That's what we did. Goodness gracious.
Smart.
Get a pump.
Go over there and get a pump.
He wanted us to scare him.
Yeah.
That was how we intimidated. By getting little bicep work.
Bicep curls. What if you were doing them out in the end zone during warmups, as opposed to in the back?
Who, was that Georgia Tech a couple years ago that had the weights and warm-ups on the field?
Oh, probably. That feels right.
We got to get. So, Aaron Feld has moved back to Birmingham. He
Really?
left the Miami staff.
Yeah.
We got to get him in studio one day to ask him about some of this ridiculousness. I
Yeah.
want to hear from him what his philosophy would have been on making offensive linemen do curls to hopefully intimidate defensive linemen pregame. And by the way, what if you don't get the ball first?
Yeah.
So
your pump is gone.
You're doing these curls 10 minutes before you run out. Then you run out. Then you have the coin toss. Then you kick off. The other team goes on a 12-play, 7.5-minute drive.
Yeah.
But they're scared.
Yeah. Now they're scared for sure.
Now we got them.
I would like put on
We're in
padded
your head.
gloves and like have like mitts. I want paws. I want my O lineman to have long arms and big hands. I literally don't care. I'd put the extra skull cap helmet on your head. Not the one that looks like an egg crate, not the gladiator cap or whatever. I'm talking the other one. And I would have a face mask that looks like Darth Vader face mask. With a bar right down the middle with a tinted visor.
I'll say this. That's how you know you're not fat.
What?
Because there's no way in hell you would want a visor on your helmet as a fat person because it's hard enough to breathe as it is
No.
when you're moving around. And to hold some of that carbon dioxide in and up the humidity level that close to your face, you would never do that as a 300-pounder. It's not a real thing. Trust me, I tried it for one game and I wasn't even on offense yet. This is when I was in high school. I came after, I think we went 3 and out. It was against Mountain Brook in the opener, and I came off the field.
Of course you went. Of course
Get
you
this
went.
thing off.
Of course you went 3 and out.
I can't breathe.
Of course you went 3 and out against the Brook.
game.
You went 3 and out against the Brook, obviously.
We were on defense.
No, you're on offense that series.
I didn't
remember.
play offense in high school. No, you can't breathe those things, man. I don't know how like the Marcus McNeils and those guys do it. Like I don't. It's because I couldn't breathe with that thing.
I don't know. There's a guy that played for. No, it might have been M-Man on last scrimmage. Now I'm thinking about. I was like thinking about the guy in Any Given Sunday. He had like a reflector visor shield. It was a defensive end, I think, and he's the one that hurt Cap Rooney. I always thought he looked really sweet.
I mean, how Gilbert Brown did that. You remember Gilbert Brown for the Packers?
Do I remember him? He was 400 pounds.
He had one of the best like tackle for loss celebrations ever.
Yeah, on 7 of them in his career, he was 400 pounds.
But we remember those 7.
Yeah, they were sweet.
How he had a visor? How did he breathe? I have no idea. How?
Because he only had to play 2 plays at a time.
Gilbert, you stay right there and just don't let him push you back.
Gilbert, we'll call timeout to get you off the field on 3rd down. Don't worry.
He probably didn't have a lot of pass rush move.
No.
Yeah, not a lot of wiggle.
Yeah.
Not a ton of wiggle. All right, I have no idea where we're going next after all that, but we'll try to make it good. First, tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring. We may have hit the floor here today.
Yeah, we might have. Fu and his guys, they're committed to making sure that your experience is outstanding when you're going through what is kind of a stressful experience, frankly. I mean, you look at replacing your floors is tough. It's a lot of work, but my goodness, the results are just off the charts good when you go with Fu and his company at Shannara Flooring. Go and check them out at fuandyou.com. Right now, you can get that Core Tech flooring by Shaw. It's in stock. They have 40,000 square feet of that Core-Tech flooring in stock. You get $10 off per box when you order it from Shannara Flooring. Core-Tech's 100% waterproof, pet-proof. It's durable. Think about upgrading your carpet. If you want to go a different direction, you don't want the Core-Tech, they have plenty of options for you at several different price points, and you know it's going to be done right when you go with Fu and his companies. 12 months financing with approved credit. You can see it all online at fuandyou.com.
All right, more on college football next right here on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Friday, July 11th, right here on Jox 94.5.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, national champions. You go and check them out. They've won 5 in a row. It's amazing. The deals that you can find on the lot when you take the short drive up to Coleman and get yourself a brand new GMC, like a GMC Sierra 1500 SLT. It has the Z71 4x4 SLT package. Really, really nice vehicle. $67,570 is the list price. They'll take $14,000 off that list price. You get it for $53,570. It's deals like that that keep people coming back. It's just off the charts good. You just can't find deals like that. There's a reason why they sell more GMCs than anyone in the entire Southeast. So go see Andy Cole. Go see Jonathan Yeager. You can also go see their used car supercenter. If it doesn't really matter what your budget is, they're going to find a solution for you. So take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll be glad you did. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
All right, couple folks chiming in via Twitter. You can always be a part of the show there at Mac and Cube. Higginbotham Hotline, you can get us there as well, 800-239-9569. You can text into the show, 205-834-9450. Jody tweets in, I wonder if the current O linemen at Jack State listen to the Trickett stories from Mac Cubelic on at Mac and Cube and laugh or curl into the fetal position and cry in desperation.
Don't know.
Probably,
they're living it.
I would say don't listen, but it can't be what it was. So I would probably not say cry. Ron Selesky tweets in the show, I believe of him playing football as an offensive lineman, and there's no arm definition whatsoever.
No. It's okay. You're not supposed to.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be big.
Beef.
You're supposed to be beefy. I don't want my O lineman cut. You know why? Because that means you're not taking care of them business.
You get pushed around.
Yeah.
Kyle Tanner tweets in, at Mac and Cube, can Cole do the rest of the show in Trickett's voice, please? Thank you. This radio show sucks.
You guys
Why don't you even care?
You guys think you're so funny talking about offensive line play. You guys don't know anything.
Cubic, you're the dumbest mother I've ever coached. That was about 4 times a day, by the way.
That's it? I'd take the over.
4 times a day. And then you would go in to try to repair the dumbness and figure out what was happening. And you sit down in the meeting that afternoon. Comes in and he'd say, Cubic's obviously the only one that cares. He came in at 11 a.m. this morning and watched film for 3 hours, and you lazy can't even get in here. And we're like, again, why am I doing this? I just burned all my teammates on accident.
Burned them.
Now they were in trouble for me trying to be better. It worked against you in a lot of ways.
Yeah. You can't be right.
Michael Kirby tweets in, well, I call Cubelic, when it comes to golf like football, coaching in the second half, are you shooting a higher score on the back nine than the front nine? I need Tiger's all-time front nine scores versus back nine scores, and if the back nine's not better, he's not a good golfer. That's it, because that's what the local media tells us.
That's all that matters.
Do you score more in the second half?
That's what I've been told.
Jody tweets in, comparing the expectations of Tulsa football with Auburn football. Emoji laughing face, emoji laughing face, emoji laughing face. I do not feel like we used those two teams in the same sentence today until you tweeted that. But here we are.
Cubelic's the only one that cares.
He watched 5 hours of film on his own today, and y'all were in bed between practices.
Go see the nap pods. You guys are soft.
No.
They didn't have these when I was playing.
We went back to...
We didn't even get water.
We would go back to watch film at night after meals of 2-a-days. So
Checks out.
We had film at 9 p.m. After a 6:30 practice and a 4:30 practice or 2:30 practice, whatever it was. And you had to get weights in during the day.
God.
By God, we're going to watch practice again. So you go eat, and you're just, all you want to do is lay down, and then you walk back over. Those like 300-yard walks to the facility were some of the longest walks of my life.
Oh, of course. Of course.
I can remember like TJ Mears walking next to me. He's like, you think we're going to make it today?
You guys.
Good chance we won't. Good chance we won't. And you know what we were told when we wondered that? You'll pass out before you die. Yeah, 30 seconds.
We're not going to let you die out
That
here.
was an all-timer. You'll pass out before you die. Come on. Get up for the next rep. God, the stories in the break are always better. I'm telling you, my biggest regret ever in life, maybe. I actually have some bigger ones in life, some personal things that happened. But my biggest regret as a college football player is that I did not, before I went to bed, write in a journal every day. And literally take that journal to Hollywood and say, make it.
Yeah.
Because they won't believe it. It's literally better than any television you can ever write.
Yes.
Because nobody who writes movies has an offensive line coach that reenacts their entire script that day in practice through the shoots after practice.
It's pretty good comedy.
It's the dumbest stuff.
It's so dumb.
I was telling Greg how you have a script in practice. It's all written out what you're going to do in team, inside drill. I'm sure you guys scripted 7-on-7. We were never a part of that, so I don't know how that works. But we have a bad practice. We basically, all the plays that were scripted, we went and did them through the shoots again after practice. And the first play one day when we did that was called was 343, which is a play action pass. And I think it was Victor I looked over and he goes, "This is a pass play, coach." And he's like, "Get it through the shoe!" Like, how? How do we pass that through his shoe?
That was pre.
How did do it?
That was pre RPO too. Like you
Yes.
can no 3 yards
If you were
downfield
an
at that
inch
time.
downfield, you were getting flagged.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just amazing.
Yeah, we got
All
some dumb stuff too.
Mhm.
I'll tell it after Maddie joins us here in a minute. I got one for you in a bit. I want to get your reaction
We'll try to remind
to
you
one of our
it.
experiences in the next segment.
All right, let's get to MAXXX, who now does Big Ten Radio on Sirius XM. And you had some interesting thoughts on some of the comments that came out of Scott Frost from Big 12 Media Days on his choice words for the Nebraska job and maybe how it didn't work out. What were your thoughts after hearing what he had to say?
Guys, good to hear with you. You had me at Inside Drill.
That's what we really wanted you to talk about was your experience going through the chutes as a high school center.
Yeah, you know where I'm coming from. But that's what I'm hearing a little bit of an echo. I'm hearing my voice 3 times. You know how mixed minus can really impact you.
Oh, here we go.
I want to make sure I deliver the best thoughts that I can. So I don't know if there's anything you can do for that. I'll fight through it, but I hear myself 3 times.
Well, you like you some you.
We need you to battle.
We want you to hear it.
This is going through the chutes after practice. Can you make it?
Totally fine. This is my hazing, and that's fine. I know why you brought me on to make me look bad. No, great to be with you guys, and it's very true. The Scott Frost comments I thought were, and I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt as best I could, but based on his track record and things he said in the past, I'm just not sure that he meant it any other way, which was not only do I regret going to Nebraska, I didn't enjoy my time there, and it was Nebraska's fault that we didn't do well. And that's how it came off. And for a guy who went 16-31 and got $35 million out the door, and for someone who actually was treated pretty well and allowed to get away with some things that most coaches wouldn't because of who he was and the national championship that he won at Nebraska and being a favorite son and coming home, he was handled pretty well. And for him to say what he said, I thought was surprising. I thought for someone who hasn't really said anything about Nebraska in the last few years since he departed, again, with all that money, for him to say what he said, I think rubbed some folks the wrong way. And again, I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, saying I hope that's not what he meant. But it can't mean anything else, especially when you read the recent story in CBS Sports where he said, he likes being at UCF because fans aren't up all in his business. And he and his family can, go out and still enjoy themselves and not be, basically, he didn't say this, but accosted, right, by other fans and by people. And he can have his own time. And my response to that, guys, is, he knew the brochure before he got to Nebraska. He's from here. He played here. He knows what it's about. But when you lose the amount of games that he lost, guys, you can't go outside regardless of where you coach. It's a little bit different. So I think he learned a lot of things, but I'm glad he's at a place where he was happy.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of low-hanging fruit. And he's a guy that kind of has an edge. Like, I like Scott. We have a good relationship, but he definitely has a bit of an edge. I mean, there's no denying that. I guess I don't know the circumstances that much. What do you think he's frustrated about? I guess that's what I'm kind of having a hard time with. Like, I know he didn't win, it didn't work out, but he lost a lot of close games and had a lot of close moments. But what could Nebraska have potentially done better to accommodate his wishes and desires?
The answer is nothing. Like, Greg, he was able to hire who he wanted, got through what he wanted, and Bill Moose hires him. Trev Alberts embraced him, and frankly, there were some things that that haven't necessarily been reported by the Omaha World Herald or Lincoln Journal-Star, but when you're showing up or missing a meeting or missing a key recruiting visit, like, these are the kind of things that should be beyond a coach of his caliber and someone of his of his age and knowing what being a head coach is all about and the success that he had at UCF. I mean, it's like I said on Big Ten radio the other day, it's not just because, you call an onside kick in the second half when you have a lead against Northwestern, that doesn't make it the wrong job. Going 5-22 in one-score games doesn't make it the wrong job. He and his staff are the ones that didn't develop Adrian Martinez, who was a Heisman hopeful, if not favorite, going into his sophomore year. Never panned out the way that he should have and the way that he flashed onto the screen. And so I just think, he just wasn't cut out for it. And that's okay. That's okay to say. That's not something, though, that Scott would ever say, because like you said, he's got an edge to him. Frankly, guys, when he was first at Nebraska, he was not embraced. He went to Stanford first, transfers to Nebraska when he was a player, and it took him basically winning the national championship for him to finally be embraced. And then he came home, and look, you might not be able to – Nebraska, with all the resources they have and with all of the support and the financial aid that they have internally, they still may never win a national championship. But you know what they can do? They can make bowl games. And that's something Scott Frost was never able to do. So when you ask the question, what could they have done better? I think it's just about what Scott could have done better, unfortunately.
Is it more, though, he was at a place where they won a lot and he was beloved for that at UCF? But is this a reflection on maybe Nebraska's place in the football ecosystem? Because I still am of belief if it's been done, it can be done again. I know it might be harder now to win a national championship at BYU than it was in 1984 or whatever year it was that they actually won it. But I also acknowledge, too, that, maybe Nebraska, maybe he realized that that's a whole heck of a lot tougher job than he anticipated because of the access to recruits, and he was there pre-NIL. Is that something that might have something to do with it as well?
Well, sure. I mean, Bo Pelini won 9 games a year, but even privately, he would talk to the media how challenging it is to win at Nebraska. And that's going nine wins basically every season. So I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. And it was probably more challenging than he anticipated, especially coming off of a fictional national championship that he won at UCF. You try to do the square peg round hole. Maybe he got away from what made Nebraska great when he was there and tried to incorporate a little too much UCF there at Nebraska, perhaps. How could they have done in the NIL era? Perhaps with Scott Frost, probably pretty good. But NIL and all of those things, they're not going to cover up for game management. And Scott Frost just faltered at that time and again. And so, you can talk all day long about how the landscape has changed, and all of that is true. But if you ask Nebraska fans, and I was just in Lincoln just last week, they're not expecting national championships. They just expect national relevance and not to be a national laughing stock. And winning one-score games is a part of that. And where they fit in the national landscape has nothing to do with going 5-22 in one-score games when he's the head coach. And so I think 7, 8, 9 wins a year, I think, is palatable. I think would be fine at Nebraska. And I think with Scott Frost, I think he had good enough teams to do that.
We're visiting with Matt Schick. ESPN also does Big Ten radio for SiriusXM. I want to go to the Big Ten momentarily and not referencing a coach who is not in the Big Ten any longer. Media days around the corner. Penn State going to be a large portion of the conversation, deservingly so. There's a lot to like. Is it fair or unfair, in your opinion, that the majority of the conversation around what they are, what they could be this year seems to be this whole not able to get over the hump mantra? Is that a real mental obstacle for James, the team? How much of that should actually be why we prevent ourselves from thinking they can win a national championship this year?
Well, I think it's completely fair. I think this looks like, feels like, even though they haven't done it, it feels like Michigan 2 years ago. It feels like Ohio State last year, where you have decided to have an all-in season. You bring everybody back. You've got arguably the two best coordinators in the sport right now, and Andy Kolonicki and Coach Knowles there at the defensive spot. And you've got your returning quarterback. You've got Trevor Pena coming back. You've got your running back stable coming back. And it's all out there for you. The problem with Penn State is they didn't beat Ohio State last year, but they made it to the national semifinals. And they were one play away, maybe one good pass from Drew Aller away from playing for a national championship. So what's the next step here for this program? It's getting to that final stage. And frankly, last year's Penn State season, while it was great and unprecedented, you win 13 games and life is good, there's still a lot of empty calories. I mean, it was more salad than steak in a lot of Penn State fans' minds because, you beat SMU at home, you beat Boise State. I mean, these are games you should win. It's about when you're playing comparable competition, what do those games look like? And it's about time for Penn State to get that done. They lost to Oregon last year. They lost to Ohio State. You don't necessarily have to beat them to win a national championship, but you have to beat teams like them to do it. And so I think it's all fair. But I also think that James Franklin probably doesn't get the credit that he deserves. You're talking about a guy that has had a half dozen double-digit win seasons, took over for Bill O'Brien with that mess, and has delivered them into national prominence. They're going to be a preseason top 5 team. But when you go 13-3 last year and you come up short and Drew Aller throws a pick when you can ill-advised over the middle throw that you cannot have in that moment, you're kind of defined by that a little bit. And so we'll see if they can take that next step. But I think all the pressure's on Penn State this season.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that because it's kind of unfair in my eyes. And I know life's not fair. I tell my kids that all the time. But it's kind of unfair because we're expecting James Franklin to beat Ohio State and Michigan. Well, how often has he had equitable personnel to that of Ohio State and Michigan? I can think of only one year, and it was like 2016 and 27. And frankly, they weren't better in 2016, but they won by way of a blocked field goal. But with Trace McSorley and Saquon Barkley, you could have made the case that maybe that team was more talented than the Ohio State team that they lost to, but probably not if I'm going to go back and really dive through the rosters. So this is the first year where they do feel superior, and that's why I think this is a make or break year for James Franklin. Like, they are all in. They are remarkably well supported by their institution, remarkably well supported by their followers and their alumni. So what will the Penn State fans be satisfied with this year? What do they want? What is the expectation within the fan base?
Well, I think after last season, it's get to where you were and a step further. I also think too, just kind of getting into the nitty gritty, like it would be good in big games to actually throw a ball to a wide receiver. I think that would be paramount for this team to take that next step, and that's where I think a guy like Trevor Pena comes in. I mean, they've tried with guys over the last handful of years. They've had some decent guys that have gone on to the NFL, but they haven't had those game-breaking receivers and guys outside. I mean, Tyler Warren was the Swiss Army knife last year. He's gone. But, what is that next step for Drew Aller? Can he become that guy that people expect him to be? And that's why you talk about, not beating Ohio State. No one's beating Ohio State, right? Like, down years for Ohio State are 10-2, and that doesn't happen very often. So to that point, Ohio State always has better talent on the field. But like you said, this year there are more questions at Ohio State. There are more exclamation points at Penn State. And when you check the box at quarterback and you check the box at we still have our offensive coordinator back year over year, which frankly has been a revolving door at Penn State for the last 5 to 7 years, now is the time to prove it here. And it's unfortunate when you see things like James Franklin getting into it with a fan at a spring game who's yelling at him. Like, that's kind of a glimpse into, look, you win a lot of games, but do you win a lot of meaningful games? And that's what James Franklin and Penn State have to come through this year.
What should we think of Ohio State right now? I saw Julian saying like 4th on the Heisman odds yesterday. I'm like, have we seen him throw a ball? I mean, it's just I understand you're the defending national champions. You've recruited like crazy. You do have a lot of talent, but some of the discussion points that might be had for other teams in their situation, I do believe is a little wild going into this season.
I agree with you. I also think keep in mind Lincoln Keenholz is also like top 20 in that Heisman thing. So if you are the quarterback at Ohio State or have a chance to be, you're going to be on that list. By all accounts, he's going to be a very fine quarterback. But like you said, with a guy that hasn't taken meaningful snaps at the college level, it's hard to connect many dots unless maybe your name is C.J. Stroud and you have a little more fanfare coming in. But I think he's going to be really good. The thing for Ohio State is, and this is why I still pick them to win this conference, is because of this is just what they do. And Ryan Day, I'm interested to see Ryan Day without the pressure of having to win big. I am very interested to see what it's like the week of the Michigan game when he's staring down the barrel of a fifth straight loss to the Wolverines. I mean, it's hard to believe you can lose to Michigan for a fourth straight year and win a crystal ball, but they're a lipstick trophy, but they were able to do that. They got some key transfers coming in. Devin Sanchez should be really interesting as a young player. Max Claret, tight end, coming over. C.J. Donaldson will add to that running back staple, another transfer. Bo Atkinson from the ACC at Russia. And there's going to be a lot of new faces, but a lot of guys that it's just wash, rinse, and repeat. But I think the backfield at quarterback and at running back are the positions to watch to see if this team can break through again. But, I'll believe it until I don't see it, which is Ohio State, wash, rinse, repeat, winning the Big Ten, because by and large, they're going to have the best talent on the field.
Matt, always appreciate the time. Great stuff. Thanks for hanging out with us. Look forward to doing it again soon.
Guys, anytime. Get back to that inside zone run stuff.
You got it. We'll go right to it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
MAXXX of ESPN and the Big Ten channel on SiriusXM joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. A football story from McElroy, Nick Kelly, all next. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We'll get to Nick Kelly here in just a moment. First, you had a story that you wanted to share with us about your playing days at Alabama. You have to wait for that. One thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has you taken care of. The urgent care office can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you in Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Open and Trustful as well. You can get in the same day. You can also go and get an experience with free teeth whitening when you do a routine cleaning. It's great. Absolutely a fantastic setup. And get you on Fridays and Saturdays too. So if you're a little bit tight on the schedule during the week, Saturdays are available at Family Dental. Call them at 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
All right, so take us back to your time.
All right, so just ridiculous things in practice, right? Like you talked about running the entire script through the sleds, which might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. We used to do 7-on-7. You talk about, 7-on-7, you probably have scripts, stuff like that too, right?
Yes.
Well, you're good. We definitely did. And looking at some of our 7-on-7 on Wednesdays. So this is Wednesdays. It'd be like third down, heavy red zone emphasis on Wednesdays. Our 7-on-7 period would actually be 9-on-7, or technically 9-on-9. So they would basically take our 7-on-7 where we're trying to hone in the passing game and kind of relax, just get in rhythm, work on coverages, work on route concepts against certain coverages, all that stuff. It's really, really helpful. Well, they decided that it'd be great for us to go 2-on-2 pass rush drills against the offensive line during 7-on-7. And you know what 2-on-2 pass rush drills look like?
Games,
stunts, twists.
Yeah, we did it
picks.
at the end of every pass rush.
Yeah. It was the absolute worst thing on planet Earth. And this is all in the middle of a 7-on-7 period that should be focusing on the passing game. So not only do I have Jim McElwain over there, but we also have, I think, one of the great coaches in the history of Alabama football. I really think that it might have been the dumbest drill of all time because they're running these TEs, ETs, loops, all this other stuff. And I'm trying to, I'm hitting my hand on helmets. I'm getting
knocked
sacked.
Around.
I'm getting sacked in 7-on-7. I think it might have been the worst. And Joe Pendry, like I said, one of the best offensive line coaches in the country, one of the best maybe in the history of Alabama football with how he helped Coach Saban and how much Coach Saban leaned on him. He is just absolutely on me. Get the ball out. It's been, it's 2 seconds.
I love it.
The left side.
It's your fault, though, for not throwing the ball.
Left side, yeah. Get it out. I'm trying to go through a read. They just bracketed my 1 and 2. They called the perfect defense for the route that we were running. Imagine that with Nick Saban and Kirby Smart on the defensive side. McElroy's like, you got nothing there. And Petter, get it out. Holding the ball again. Well, sitting there, they're doing TE stunts at the middle. And then one time I was finally so frustrated. Nothing was there, and I just took off and ran. And
you're kind of not supposed to do that.
You're not. No, you got to throw it.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, if you throw a pick, and so be it. The defense feels good about themselves. I just took off and run. Well, you gonna do that in the game? Yeah, maybe.
Might. Yeah.
Every once in a while, the quarterback does have to take off. You got to get the ball out. Greg, you go through the reads. I did go through the reads.
It takes a little longer.
There's nothing there.
That. Did you guys ever hit a bootleg, an inside drill?
Yes.
So good.
So bad.
It's amazing. It's the best ever. You do this like for inside drill. If you guys don't know, it's all run plays. It's no receivers, no DBs. They did bring a safety every now and then.
Yeah.
Like, well, he plays fills the box. All right, we'll bring a fullback then, even though we don't use one.
Inside run was 9-on-7 because it was 2 safeties, the 7 up front, and then your typical inside 2 tight ends, running back, tight end, fullback, running back, 5 offensive linemen, and the quarterback. Not only would we do, this is how ridiculously slanted everything was towards the defense at Alabama. We would do 9-on-7. We pulled like 1 bootleg ever, and that did not. Are we not trying to rep the run? Are we not trying to rep the run?
It was one of my favorite days when we did
I bet it was.
Maybe once a year you would do it. And not a single soul ever saw it coming.
Yeah.
And that quarterback would get outside the tackle box, and there wasn't a defender within 25
I could have
yards.
moonwalked into the end zone.
Easily.
They were still trying to tackle the running back.
So good.
But in addition to that, we had 7-on-7 play action. So we'd have 7-on-7.
So no D linemen, no linebackers.
No D linemen. Well, they were linebackers, but they obviously in 7-on-7
8 yards off the ball.
are not playing the run.
Okay.
And we have tight ends and running backs that are blocking.
That's an interesting thought process there.
So we have 2 guys out on the route and 7 guys in coverage. And
Good
we are
luck with
expected
that
to throw the football.
And they're supposed to bite on the run.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They literally like a half step forward and then take off exactly where they're supposed to go in their coverage responsibilities.
Okay.
We had that. We had a half line pass. This is all. We did this like every day. Half line pass where we have 1 wide receiver and a running back. If we're going 3-by-1, we'd have 2 receivers, a slot and an outside receiver. But defensively, the middle linebacker would be involved. So Rolando would be involved. The outside linebacker would be involved, or the nickel, depending on what personnel group we were in. You had a corner and a safety. So you had 4-on-2. 4 defenders for 2 wide receivers. Get it out!
Good luck.
Do it!
Good luck.
You can't do that. We had that. We had half line run, which means you had center off right guard, right tackle against D tackle, 5 technique, which is a defensive end, and man of the line of scrimmage, and a plus linebacker off the ball. So 4-on-3 in the run game.
Not ideal.
You realize I said that one time. I was like, we would check out of this. We're not running mid-zone weak.
Nope.
Against a 4-man overhang.
Not going to happen.
Not happening. You can't do it. Nobody's there to block the linebacker. Run the ball.
But in this one you were. In this one you would do it. So let's get to Nick Kelly. We'll keep our college football stories coming a little bit later in the show. Nick having to run into court here in a little while later today, so kind enough to take some time to be with us. Not for himself, by the way. Wanted to get your thoughts first on the selections of players that are headed to SEC Media Days and get your little preview on just this Alabama team before we meet with them, see them over in Atlanta. No Ty Simpson. Did you read anything into that, Nick?
No, I didn't. And frankly, I could hear you guys talk inside run stories all day.
Gosh.
But no, the group that they picked was very much so typically what Alabama's done. Entrenched starters, guys that you're certain are going to be out there with the starting lineup. And frankly, older players. I mean, Ty is an older player, but they're going to go with guys that you've seen in front of the media before. So I wasn't shocked. Anytime there's been any sort of questions as to who the quarterback is, you're not necessarily going to see him at SEC Media Days.
Nick, did we lose you?
Can you hear me?
We got you
we
now.
lost you for a second. Go ahead there.
Okay. I don't know what you heard, but
Just heard there's no
basically-
surprise that he's not going to be there. I think that was the last thing we heard you say.
okay. Yeah. To me, it was no surprise that he was not going to be there just because they have a small question at quarterback. I mean, it seems like he's going to be the guy, but when there's not absolute certainty that a guy's an entrenched starter, they usually don't bring him to SEC Media Days.
When you look at what they are bringing, and Caden Proctor, for example, Caden Proctor didn't go through spring again, but has obviously done a lot and played a lot. What are you anticipating kind of hearing the message from some of the guys they are bringing?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of conversation about last year and, hey, is Alabama football still what it was? And I think they're going to talk about being hungry to get back to what it was and even not worrying about what people are saying about Alabama football. I think that'll be the general tenor. But I think there's going to be a quiet confidence because they should be really good. I mean, you look at it just about every position outside of quarterback. I don't have a ton of questions. I really don't. And I think that you'll see that confidence come through in the way that Caden Proctor, Tim Keenan, and guys like that talk.
We're visiting with Nick Kelly of AL.com, talking Alabama before they head over to SEC Media Days. Anything behind the scenes that you're hearing from a position, a player, somebody maybe progressing who's not getting a lot of discussion, somebody that you're kind of anxious to head to Media Days and potentially learn a little bit more about because of some of the buzz that might be starting?
Yeah, I don't know if we'll hear much about him at Media Days necessarily, but a name I keep hearing in different ways is Rico Scott. And there's actually a picture that emerged yesterday. I think Ryan Williams posted it, of 4 receivers. It was Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton, the new guy from Miami, and Rico Scott. And so there's some buzz around this guy as a second-year player. I don't quite know how he'll work in yet because I think those other 3 are going to be the first kind of 3 out there. But there's a lot of intrigue in what he could potentially do at receiver.
And he is from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. He's got some juice. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of all plays out. I think they will have good weapons. The one position that I think everyone seems to have concerns about, quarterback is one, but also tight end. Do you anticipate, or have you heard anything about, the production and the depth that they're hopefully going to find at tight end?
Yeah, I don't know that I have a certain answer. So I'm with you, Greg, that I'm not necessarily sure that you can rely on, okay, they're going to have great blocking like they did with Robbie Uth and CJ Dupree. I do think that they like the potential of a Josh Cuevas, once he gets healthy. He wasn't really participating as much in the spring. And yeah, see what Danny Lewis can do and see what these new guys they brought in transfer-wise can do. But to say that there's certainty, to say that I'm confident in that position, you're right. I think there are a lot of question marks.
All right, Nick. Anything else that on the Alabama front that you're working on here recently that could be coming that folks need to be aware of before we hear them and see them at SEC Media Days?
I don't know if it quite fits that bill, but did do some reporting recently about Nick Saban's role in Alabama recruiting, because I think there's been a narrative out there that he's some, ace behind the scenes or some kind of secret weapon, because he was pictured in some photos with some recruits. And, he's available. He's willing to help, but he's not hovering. So the idea that he's kind of some puppet master, something that, some ace is maybe not quite accurate, because I think, as you both know, he's got a lot of things going on in some nice places in Florida and Georgia that he's spending his time with. So yeah, this recruiting heater has been impressive from the staff. And of course, why wouldn't you use Nick Saban a little bit, especially because he met with some in-state guys. But to me, it was really impressive. And one other thing too, guys, that I think people have some questions about, Kalen DeBoer is pictured at the Milwaukee Brewers Dodgers game, which I think surprised some folks. And it turns out that
after he did what? After he did what earlier in the day, Nick?
Say it again.
After he did what earlier in the day?
Did he land a recruit that day?
Oh, I thought he was playing golf that morning. But.
No. Maybe so. No, I don't know. But I do know that he struck up a relationship with the manager of the Dodgers and Dave Roberts. So kind of a friend in high places there. Because I was like, what on earth is Kalen DeBoer doing at that Milwaukee Brewers game? But kind of a powerful friend he's got there.
Probably trying to watch Jacob Mezorowski pitch. Dude's unbelievable.
Love that.
Nick, we appreciate the time, man. Thanks for hopping on. I know you got a busy day planned. We'll see you over in Atlanta.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Have a good one.
There you go. Nick Kelly of AL.com joining us on the Higginbotham hotline. And it's just the recruiting has made it intriguing. Some of the people trying to point to Saban, Greg, and treating. Obviously, we got Media Days coming, so we're going to learn a little bit more about this football team. And it's one that is definitely on the higher end of what their capabilities could be this year. And I go back and forth a little bit of, do we categorize them with Texas, with Georgia, maybe LSU's in that grouping of should be in contention for a conference title, or should they be closer to that middle of the pack of teams that, yeah, they could win 10, 11, but they could win 8 at the same time.
I could see them. I think they're the toughest test right now for Texas. I think Texas has the most answers, but I'm a big believer in kind of what's coming back. Now they're a little thin, but I think that they've addressed some of the challenges off last year's roster, one being the quarterback, 2 being the wide receiver depth, 3 being familiarity within the scheme defensively. 4 being the youth in the secondary is no longer young. Those guys have played a ton of football. Like, those are the things that kept me up at night last year going into the season. And frankly, I'm not really that worried about any of those position groups this year. I mean, last year going into SEC Media Days, we were freaking out about secondary. They're going to potentially start 3 freshmen, which they did. We were freaking out about who's the reliable pass rushers. That is, I think, still a question mark at this point, but I'm cautiously optimistic. We were freaking out about the right side of the offensive line. Well, they feel real good about the development of Wilkin Formby. We're paranoid about the wide receiver core because they knew Jeremy Bernard, but Ryan Williams was a freshman. No one really knew what to make of that. He got there in June. No one really knew what to make of that. I think the depth beyond those two was a concern, and it proved to be a reasonable concern at that. Those guys have now moved on, but they brought in Horton. Feels like they have some young bucks coming up that they feel real good about. They, I think, will have a steady play at the quarterback spot. I don't know how spectacular the quarterback play will be, but I think it's going to be steady, and it's not going to be a headache every single time you deal with the ups and downs of the previous guy. I just think there's a lot fewer question marks on this year's Alabama team than last year's. A lot fewer. And while no one wanted to acknowledge that last year because, the beat goes on and 247 does the star ranking composites and they had a high star ranking composite, that wasn't reality. And I think this year's group's just much more well equipped with an understanding, and I think it's a little bit easier to predict. You the same boat?
It just comes with some ifs, but every team does right now. It feels like. I mean, we just talked to Matt Schick about Ohio State, and I'm sitting there almost preaching doom and gloom for a team that has 2 Heisman Trophy contenders.
Right.
Allegedly. Now, Jeremiah Smith, nobody's going to argue with. A lot of that's out of his hands, but still, Vegas numbers are Vegas numbers. The linebacker stays healthy, Quay Russaw stays healthy, and the offensive line has continuity. Just plays good football together. They don't need to be dominant. They don't need to be world beaters. They play good football together and give Grubb and DeBoer what they need on a consistent basis. I think they can be pretty good. And as you stated, Ty Simpson might not have to be overly dynamic for them to be good. They'll have good backs, should have a good offensive line. I'm a little worried about tight end, but I also know that offense can use multiple tight ends. Doesn't have to have a lot of tight ends.
They also didn't have freak tight ends at Washington either. Like, they had guys that were solid. And that's fine. Like, you don't need O.J.
And that's
Howard
why I kind of go both ways on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at Washington, you had a guy that was fine getting in the way, didn't mind trying to do it.
Yeah.
Wasn't really going to stretch the field. Last year, you had a couple Bulldogs, and you used them, and it was great. You don't have those guys this year. But that's why it's not – that's why I said mild concern about, is that going to be a position of strength? Might not need to be. So I think the secondary should be fine. You got veterans there. It's year 2 of the defense, too, which is a different defense. Vision coverage. It asks a lot of different things. The safety responsibilities are not the same as they were before. So there should be a bigger comfort level there. And that should allow you to do more up front, which could allow for more disruption and being more problematic on the defensive line. So, yeah, I think they should be fine. Now,
fewer questions this year or last year? And we can answer that question after the break.
Yeah, we'll do that after the break. Come back, talk more about that next. Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Friday, July 11th, 9:44, right here on Jox 94.5. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Going to continue talking about some of the Alabama potential, Alabama possibilities. It's a fair question that Greg asked. More questions going into last season or this season? And I'm kind of trying to have to think back and trying to think about what it was and what we were even concerned about last year. I know it wasn't the offensive line. Receiver, maybe. We liked Jeremy Bernard because we saw him at Washington.
We liked him, but
We didn't know Ryan Williams was going to be what he was going to be.
No, we didn't know he was going to be as good as he was. No, I didn't think he was going to be anywhere near what he was. As a freshman, that was a big ask.
I think D-line was still a little concerned. I think Edge was still a little concerned. He had a couple of injuries there last year that hurt that, but we didn't know if it was going to be dynamic. You had some newer DBs that were coming in, and obviously a new scheme defensively. Those were some of the concerns. I mean, looking back on it, the way you lay it out, probably more last year than this year. Yeah.
I think they're way more.
And I don't think we looked at quarterback as a question mark going into last year.
No, you knew what he was, but you also knew that he was going to have some ups and downs.
Sure.
That's just who he is.
Yeah.
But that's what he was the year before. There were some games he was lights out, and there were some games that he was brutal. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. So I kind of knew what to expect at quarterback, and I thought overall they would be able to defend a little better than they were early, but I knew there'd be growing pains. The biggest concerns for me last year were at wide receiver, pass rush, and defensive backfield. The defensive backfield, let's just say it scared me to death. I mean, you lost 2 great corners the year before. You lost a couple corners the year before that. They'd had a ton of turnover at that position. You're likely looking at a scenario where you're going to have to start multiple freshmen in the back end defensively. That is a disaster. Okay, you had Malachi, great. You had Damani Jackson, who was going to be transferring in, but he transferred in from SC. And while everyone liked him, no one was for sure knew exactly what he was. I thought he actually had a really nice year last year, especially considering he was banged up. You had Keon Sabb transferring in, but transferring in late. No one really knew what to make of there. I just thought there was a lot of concerns surrounding the defense secondary, which is a huge problem. I thought linebackers would be elite, and they were. I thought the linebackers had a nice year, but it took them a little while to get comfortable in the system.
It's fair.
Like it did. And it's not because they're not good players, just it's a new system. It's new responsibilities.
Well, and they were dinged up, guys in and out of the lineup too. That doesn't make it easy to kind of gain and grow your continuity, which you have to be a good offensive line. So some of that fair. Absolutely. Also fair is the Gusty Goulas Group. Serve more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. That's why you should contact him if you need a home in Central Alabama. Or if you want to sell your home in Central Alabama, go to GustyGoulsGroup.com right now. You'll see a button at the top right hand of the page. Smash that button. Very little information. And you will be able to find out what they believe your home is worth. Brokered by eXp Realty. Since 2012, recognized both nationally, locally as Greater Birmingham, Alabama's #1 team in homes sold. Gusty Goulas Group has helped family members of mine. They can help you or family members of yours. Over 855-star Google reviews. Just search it. Gusty Goulas Group. Look for yourself. See what it says. Call 205-542-1996. That's 205-542-1996. And start packing today with the Gusty Goulas Group. When we come back, we will give you our Super Sofa Game of the Week and wrap it up. Last bit of radio before SEC Media Days. Next on Jox. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 9:51, Friday, July 11th. When you hear from us again after this segment, it will be in Atlanta for SEC Media Days. It's right around the corner, which usually signifies that the season is upon us. We'll have about another, 35 days, 32-something days before college football kicks off after SEC Media Days, maybe less than 30 after it's all over with.
It'll be, like mid-30s.
So
crazy.
It's crazy how close it is. And when Damien was excited about it the other day, and I was like, no, actually, I need more days.
I wouldn't hate a little more time.
I could use 130 days right now. But either way, it's here, and we're going to get ready for it next week. If you are ready for your arthritis to go away, if you need to curb your appetite a little bit, Your CBD Store has answers. Trim by SunMed in stock now at Your CBD Store, the largest brick-and-mortar CBD retailer in the world. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. To get the stamp seal on those products, you have to meet and achieve a certain set of standards and tests. Your CBD Store makes sure that happens. So if it's arthritis for your pet, anxiety for your pet, skincare, gut health for your pet, they can help there also. 3 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cage in Cleaver, Trustful just off 459. And now, downtown in 5 Points, Your CBD Store, where good health hits home. Let's get to our Super Sofa Game of the Week. If you only had one, which would it be? G-Mac, what direction are you going to go?
Oh, I was going to go EFL or IFL.
Why would you not?
Or ELF or Elf. Any of them, just any of them.
Well, it's easy. You should, and you should have. You should have gone there because there's really no reason not to. I don't know why you wouldn't, but if you wanted to go ahead and look at coming up on Saturday, tomorrow at 13 CET, around that time, the Munich Ravens at 6-1 are going to try to keep the Helvetic Mercenaries in the 0 column with wins. Munich Ravens, Helvetic Mercenaries, 6-1 versus 0-6. 13 CET tomorrow on EuropeanLeague.football.com.
You said it's on at 13-17?
No, just 13 CET.
Okay, perfect.
Central European time?
It's got to be. That's what we declared. All the English-speaking
Is that morning
European
or night?
countries. Morning. One in the morning.
For them.
Here.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Is that like the Jefferson Pilot kickoff time over there, or is that like prime time?
Yes, you
I
get
don't know.
11A.
It's not really kickoff.
The
No
11A
idea what it
treatment.
Yeah,
The
but that's
11A
my
treatment with the Daves.
that's my Super Sofa Game of the Week.
Ooh, love that.
We did hibachi at the party for the birthday we were at last night, and the guys going around with the Super Soaker of sake. Like,
Oh, yeah. Did he get you?
No, I'm not drinking sake.
I know that, but did he shoot you because you didn't take one?
I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
not to mention, this is not a fraternity party.
We went to
Like,
one, and the guy said no. The guy sprayed him right in the face with sake.
I'm just going to tell you right now.
It's kind of messed up.
That would have been the end of hibachi night. Hibachi night would have been over, and he would have seen a whole new set of tricks had
Yes.
that gone down.
You better put his knives
Every one
away.
of his eggs.
Yes, I love that. All right, beautiful.
Shrimp would not have been the only thing thrown at people's hats.
No. 10:30 a.m. Central Time, Friday. So you are 35 minutes away
It's upon us.
from my Super Sofa or Soaker game of the weekend. Yannick Sinner of Italy taking on Novak Djokovic. Wimbledon semifinal. Novak kind of passing the torch over the last year and a half to Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner. The winner will likely get Carlos Alcaraz in the final, who is currently up 2-1 against American Taylor Fritz.
We got a chance
So
to get an
Yannick
American in
Sinner
there.
and Novak Djokovic from Centre Court in Wimbledon.
All right, Damien, bring us back to North America, maybe here for your viewing.
Seems rather simple. The Cincinnati Reds are taking on the worst team in baseball, the Colorado Rockies.
Why
would
want that?
anybody
Game
watch that?
set. Hey, let's get the brooms out for us.
Is that tonight's game you're going with?
Yeah, tonight.
You got
6:10.
Chase Burns going, so That
Yeah, we
might be
could.
worth the watch.
For me, I'll take the three-man front grudge match. The Braves take on the Cardinals, 7:15. You can listen right here on Jox. That's my super sofa or soaker game of the weekend. Find your super sofa or furniture at the entire home at TD's Fine Furniture, where they've extended their 4th of July sale. You'll find markdowns up to 50% throughout the entire store and pay no interest for 12 months at TD's Fine Furniture in Summerton.
Yeah, you have Grant Holmes on the mound for Atlanta. Last time he pitched, we had the game on, and my wife said, "What is wrong with him?" He's got the warrant haircut, by the way.
Nice.
He does wear a 60s number, though, so I can't be
Love
too mad
that.
at
61?
him. No, 8.